When I thought that I'd be better, thought that I'd be better without you. Back when I thought that I'd be better, thought that I'd be better without you. I pushed you away to be on my own. Never knew what I had till I let you go. Back when I thought that I'd be better, thought that I'd be better, thought that I'd be better without you.
We see the world in a cold light. It isn't much, but it's all we needed. It's all we needed. With everything in
Yo, crew, way less. My crew, the best. Make the place blow up. My crew, the best. Yo, crew, way less. My crew, the best.
I hope I'm always on your side. No, I'll look up till I die. I hope I won't end up in your fight, but if I do, you're probably right. I surrender. You act like you don't remember me. You're cold as December and explosive when you look at me. I'm sick with excitement. You can seem so violent. It's fire in your eyes. I feel like you ain't right here. Nothing that you like here. I know you were keen to cut the ties. It's fire in your eyes. 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 I hope you will get at me, but you indifferently. You talk so impassioned around here. When will you put me? I surrender. You act like you don't remember me. You're cold as December and explosive when you look at me. I'm sick with excitement. You can seem so violent. Fire in your eyes. I feel like you ain't right here. Nothing that you like here. I know you were keen to cut the ties. There's fire in your eyes. 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 Fire in your eyes.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Side OGG Path to Pro Combine, where we are coming at you with set number 11. We got 2 more squads of 5 players apiece. My name's Gordo. I'm joined by Quacks on the cast tonight. Quacks, welcome back, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm here again for the Path to Pro Cyto Combine, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking at all the fresh names we got here for the second set of the day, and I'm incredibly excited to talk about all of them. Namely, though, Gordo, I'm looking at those bot lanes, and boy, oh boy, am I expecting a lot of action, and most importantly, a lot of narrative points, because these are players that have been through the ringer, both in the AD carry role and the support role, and they've come out as probably some of the best players in their roles for Tier 2 and Tier 3 both.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talked about it a lot when you and I were here last week with Scary Jerry and Shogo. A lot of history between those two guys competing at the C-Law level, talking a lot of trash back and forth. It'll be fun to get to see them face off once again. But then a little bit maybe of a lesser discussed storyline here with Cryogen and Mixture both facing off. Two of kind of, I would say, the big breakout supports of the 2024 year. I think as we got into summer, Mixture really started to top that list of players that people want to see in the NACL. You know, it's him and Daption neck and neck for who was going to be the best support in summer. And then Cryogen, of course, sitting out all of summer as he got picked up by Fly Challengers as their backup, probably part of those long-term plans with Chime heading over into retirement. But yeah, we'll see what that looks like as we get into 2025.
Yeah, I mean, Cryogen was riding the bench for a few months, but you know what isn't riding the bench is going to be that Skarner picked up here on B1. I expect we'll probably see Ollie with a counter pick here for the jungle. Sejuani is open and available. We know he really prefers that. Paired up with the Ashe, I think you provide yourself a lot of slows, a lot of CC, and overall just a lot of utility to work with if you maybe want to put Aojun, Shogo, or even Zamudo on some of those carries. I think it is important to get some form of utility for your comp before then, as we see a few hovers coming in there, maybe more than a few, as I honestly dare Ollie to lock this in. This would be hype if this Hecarim gets locked. No, it's going to be
pretty exciting. But now it's the other horse. It's the lesser horse. It's going to be Lilia locked on in alongside the Ashe, going to give them a lot of non-committal engage opportunities. I think that's going to be always something I love to see in a composition. It'll let them fish around for some of those potential picks, use the bowling ball, use the enchanted crystal arrow. If it lands, great, you got your engage, you got your go button, and if it doesn't, you haven't committed too much. You still have the ability to back off, wait for those cooldowns to come back. But now, it does look like we've got Dragoon picking on up a Cassante here. He's played this a couple of times already, this Combine. This is still a pick that it feels like people are feeling out since it got its little mini rework. I still think it's very, very powerful, though. A lot of solo kill potential still in this champion if it can find its right moments. Those moments are just a little bit more difficult, though. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he can time his all-outs and what his lane opponent is going to do in Zamudo, as this is definitely a guy who's played some more off-the-wall picks in his time in this Combine.
Yep. So now I'm actually wondering what Zamudo's team is going to do here in the wake of counters, because they locked in both of their solo laners, right? Along with that, Cassante was the Hui, but they can really only draft one champion to give counter into. And I have to imagine it's going to be that top lane. The matchups there are so vital to getting. You really need to get a good one. And I imagine they don't want to give Dragoon's squad the ability to ban some of those away, as they are actually going to lock into that Smolder. So this has the potential to go mid lane. It has the potential to go top lane. It can run Grasp top as well and do semi-decently into Cassante. It can avoid a lot of those solo kills that you were alluding to, Gordo, in the lane phase, especially once that all-out comes up. But I am interested to see where this runs, because Zamudo, Aojun, as far as I know, these guys have the ability to pilot this champion.
Yeah, definitely. So could see it coming in to multiple roles here as well, but the Ashe lock-in, I think, definitely means that we're going to see the Smolder in mid lane here for Aojun. So exciting to see how that one's going to play on out. You know, it's not the fan favorite champion, but it is something that feels like it's definitely got a place in the meta and will continue to have a place in the meta going forward. So it's the kind of pick that you want to see players demonstrate a little bit of capacity towards as we go deeper and deeper into this Combine. Aojun, of course, already played a game of the Smolder, but this will be his second of the Combine so far. Now 80 carry bands coming on out from the side of the red team. I guess they haven't really named themselves yet. So for now, they'll be red team.
We've kind of come to a bit of a conclusion, you and I, Gordo, where we name it after the top laners, like Dragoons, Goons. So maybe we could just call them Zamudo's Zoomers. I think that could be a working title that we could go for.
We could do that. Is Shogo a Zoomer? Shogo, I don't even know.
He's a
Shogo's
goat.
on the borderline, but for the rest of them,
Shogo's goats, maybe, if we want to go for the 80 carries.
For sure. Well, I'm fine with the Zoomers. It's just
triple.
If we're miscategorizing Shogo, so be it. The Zeri lock-in is pretty crazy. I think that pretty much means it's going to be Ashe support, unless Zamudo is showing us one of these marksmen top. It could be the Smolder or the Zeri up there, too. Not something I would put past Zamudo. He definitely has some spicy picks he likes to bring out.
Yeah, and we see that Scary Jerry is going to throw down potentially the Callista, and this is probably going to be paired up with what I would imagine to be an engage support. Some of those banned away already. I say that, and it's just going to be the Nico. So the Callista-Nico combo, the ultimates are very good when used in tandem together. And now, I'm just curious to see what we're going to see down there. So yeah, it is actually going to probably be the Smolder top lane, the Zeri mid, and the Ashe 80 carry. I do really like the Renata here. You've got a lot of auto attack based champions, especially down in that bot lane with Nico and the Callista. You know, having the active on that W does mean that the ultimate from Renata comes out and is a bit more useful. But instead, we are going to get ourselves an Enchantress with also a little bit more damage. So, lots of poke on the Zamudo Zoomers side. This is a team that wants to poke you out. They don't want to necessarily go in full throttle for the engage. They want to whittle you down from a distance. Meanwhile, on the other side, Dragoons, Goons, quite up in your face, right? So it definitely is a difference in styles for both of these squads, and it makes for a hell of an exciting game here in set number 2 on the day.
Absolutely here. So there's going to be the Nico lock-on in. I think that's probably going to be Nico's support. And then with that Karma, I guess we're taking one of these marksmen into the top lane, or it's Ashe support and like some Karma top shenanigans or something like that. That could be the case, but
yes.
I think given that it is Zamudo, I think it is most likely that we're going to end up seeing that one move up into the top lane as a marksman. Probably the Smolder in my book. I think that's the pick we've seen a little bit more frequently. The Zeri is something that could also be in the back pocket if it does come down to it.
Yeah. I mean, you're able, especially on red side, you are very difficult to punish, right? Because you can jump up over that big wall near your turret. It makes you super duper difficult to actually influence, especially for a champion like Skarner, who wants to, go over those angles with his own E and try to make the most of it. So I certainly think there is a world where we see Zamudo pilot that Zeri top, but I'm in the same boat as you, Gordo. We can be crewmates together on this Smolder because I think that's most likely going to be the pick. Again, I think once you run Grasp or hell, even Fleet, it gives you a lot of more in-lane sustain and or pressure to be able to contend with this Cassante for the long game, to get more of those stacks, to get closer to that 225 without needing to necessarily reset a lot sooner than you would like to. So I actually do kind of favor this matchup if it is the Smolder into the Cassante. Like I said, it really removes Dragoon's ability to utilize that all-out power spike and go in for those level 6 solo kills, because Smolder, very safe champion, very difficult to catch, very slippery with just his innate kit. So I like what I'm seeing here from Zamudo's Zoomers. A little bit risky simply because you don't have, I would say, necessarily a dedicated front line. So if something like a Skarner flank befalls you, if something like a big Nico Pop Blossom were to kind of start a fight, I think the fight is essentially over before it can begin. So it's going to be up to this red side, this big marksman squad, to really keep their distance and make sure they aren't getting caught by those tools. And it starts, I would say, with the Nico by making sure you count the number of minions in a minion wave. We cannot the rework has been out for what, a year now? We cannot have pros getting fooled by the Nico anymore. It's from a bygone era at this point, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's a great front to back here from the red side. I'm not concerned at all for their ability to win in those situations. It's really those flanks and that Nico that you got to be on the lookout for. Whether she disguises as a minion or she's just coming in on a flank with
Could
Skarner
be a
coming
blue
in on the other
buff.
flank, maybe even Casante's there at a third angle. Like, you really want to have multiple members converging at the same time so that you're going to limit their ability to actually kite you out. Because kiting
Mhm.
going to be super, super powerful coming through from the Zoomers this game if they're able to actually pull it off. But cutting off an escape route, doing something that guarantees you're getting the fight started on your own terms, I think that's really where you could potentially sink a composition like this. So they're really going to have to be on top of their rotations. They're going to have to be
Mhm.
tracking where the opponents are at all times. I can say, looking at the in-client draft here, it does look like Smolder's been drafted in the top lane. So thinking that is where that champion will go. It will be the Zamudo Smolder top. It will be the Zeri mid for Aojun, and Shogo now likely looking at an Ashe AD.
Yep, so here we have it. The in-client draft is just going to get picked on up. One thing I will say, you were talking kind of about the vision and the tracking aspect of this game, and I'm glad you brought that up, Gordo, because I think it is going to be a lot easier, having essentially 4 ranged champions who will have that shove in the early game, the ability to kind of push in and allow Ollie on this Lilia to be in the face of Kryra on this Skarner, be able to track the pick, make sure it's not able to influence those lanes, make sure that they have information at all times about any potential Zyko roams we might see here on the day, as it says Zyko, but the thing says Cryogen.
Yeah, that's a good question. We will have to follow up on that.
Who will it be?
If it's Psycho, I mean, if it's Psycho, this gets pretty crazy.
This gets crazy. DSTL bot
Shogo and
lane?
Mixture. I mean, this is an uphill battle for Shogo and Mixture. Scary Jerry and Zyko have
That would be
so many
awesome.
reps together over the last
Yeah.
couple of splits, and as a duo, they are the best bot lane in NA.
For sure.
They're the best bot lane outside of the LCS. I don't even
By
think that's
far,
particularly
yes.
up for debate here. So definitely going to be some dangerous territory for Shogo and Mixture to have to face off against.
Yep, and it's essentially a story of, I would say, the bot lane that is next up in terms of the pipeline, close to getting to tier 1, and then the bot lane, the players down there who are close to getting into the pipeline of tier 2. Shogo has been really on top of the AD carry pool for as long as at least I can remember, and I would say my shorter caster career span. And Mixture this year, we already talked about it, has had a hell of a year on Lotus, right? With Forzim, with Sushi, you can interchange the 80 carries, but this man's level of play stays the same, and it always stays on top. So it's definitely kind of a level of play that we're expecting from Shogo and Mixture. Certainly an uphill battle. I like how you put it, but yeah, this is a matchup that is super exciting to see, and one that I am really looking forward to.
Yeah, we're fully confirmed now that it is Zyko down here.
All right.
Scary Jerry Zyko, Callista Nico, an aggressive lane for an aggressive duo that have all this experience together. Shogo and Mixture really going to be put through the ringer in tonight's match. So definitely going to be an exciting one to keep a look at. We will have 3 full matches with these 2 teams. 3 full games, I suppose, is probably the better phrasing to use, regardless of the results. So we will have all 3 Fearless games to go on throughout and to get to see what these teams have to show us. I believe it's full Fearless as well, so will be no duplicate champions to be found, and that's going to take a lot of 80 carries off the board here, especially from this red side draft. I wonder if that's something Keel's trying intentionally to cook on up here.
He's cooking.
We're taking a look at coaches here, too, and Keel is one of those up-and-coming coaches, right? It's weird to call him an up-and-coming coach because he hasn't coached a team yet, but he's been a really cerebral, really high-profile player for a long time, culminating in his time on Team Liquid Challengers just this past split. The fact that he is now transitioning to coaching, I think he's immediately a very attractive coaching option for a lot of teams who are willing to maybe take a chance, maybe are in between coaches and don't really know what direction they want to go in. I think Keel's a guy that you should really look at. He's got a ton of experience behind him. I think he's got a really good head on his shoulders for the game. Definitely a bit of a one-track mind on that guy when it comes to finding ways to win games of League of Legends. And I'm curious to see what he's going to show us in the drafts tonight. Is already with the triple AD. Let's see if that's perhaps a setup for some things he could show us later on.
For sure. And I like what you said about Keel. You certainly are, I would say, the man who loves TL challengers more than at least anyone I've seen. And yeah, Keel was a big part, I would say, of why this squad garnered so many eyes. Because he really was the rally point for the squad. You could see the team making a lot of plays around him. And so I would say kind of that mentality, that group mentality, definitely transitions really well into coaching. And I think a comp like this that I would probably say is on the harder end to execute. You know, poke comps certainly more difficult than things like front to back comps, engage comps, snowball comps, etc., etc. Certainly take a lot more communication. So I like what Keel is going for here and just challenging, I would say, the players that he's the coach for to work with one of these harder comps and get that communication that is so necessary for them to take the next step.
Absolutely here. And with that, we're ready to get on to Summoner's Rift for game number 1. So let's get started with our first match of block number 11 for the Path2Pro Combine. What are we calling these guys? Dragoons, Goons, and Zamudo's Zoomers taking to the Rift for game number 1.
And they're going to be taking it together. As you can see, Zamudo's Zoomers grouping on up toward the bot side. They do have Ashe, who, it doesn't matter what the other champions are, the slows alone can just simply burn a flash, and that flash might just be Cryra's. He's actually going to place down a ward. This is really smart from the Skarner. They immediately get found, and now it is just going to be a little bit more CS going over to Shogo, but that experience, crucially, it no longer is given to you by the wards, which means no more cheeky level 2 plays are possible from Shogo and Mixture.
I'm furious at that, to be honest. I like having
Why?
my little random bits of knowledge. I liked when you could give it to the mid laner and get level 2 on the first wave, all right? I like that stuff, and I'm disappointed that it's not here. But that's perfectly fine. Nobody's going to be cheesing out some early level ups here. They don't have to give it over to Aljun, so you don't have to rage at each other just because Shogo last hit the ward. I suppose that's a good thing at the end of the day. It just depends on what your priorities are, and I don't really care about people flaming each other.
It seems like the priorities for both of the junglers is going to be pathing toward that bot side. They're starting on their top side camps, and I think in the case of Ollie, Lilia, we expect this champion to be a full clear kind of character, and we have that ward near the Raptors, so he's going to be starting those on up, and I think this is signaling to Cryra that exact game plan for the pick, which means he could potentially cut across. There's a ward at his red buff. If he's smart, he can completely avoid it and maybe try to get something on the bot lane. As you can see, Shogo and Mixture are just fighting to get this push that we talked about in the draft.
Yeah, they do have, double range bot lane. They are up against another double range bot lane, but
shorter
just a little bit
though.
more area of effect damage, right? You get the volleys, you get those mantra Qs, especially saw one of those fly out earlier on. It should give them this level 2 first, and it does, in fact. Doesn't look like they've been able to get too substantial of a punish off of it, but just something to be on the lookout for, especially in this early laning phase when the real combos aren't quite online yet. Nice damage found by Zyko, but it's just not going to match up to that burst for a couple of levels.
I mean, the big combo is going to come at level 6, right? When Scary Jay gets his ultimate, Zyko gets his ultimate, you send the Nico in, you get a big Pop Blossom, and that's all she wrote. So for the time being, it is going to be the Shogo and Mixture lane just trying to poke out as much as possible. Crucially, though, Cryra was spotted out by the Hawk Shot from the Ashe, so they know the Skarner is on the bot side. They placed that ward in the Tribush, like you can see. So they're covering all their angles. They're making sure that this pick cannot influence the bot lane at any point, and Ollie is just continuing to go for the full clear, so there is a very real chance that maybe we just see a Force come out, and a 3v3 could be on the cards.
Yeah, looking around at some potential combat here, but they're still finding difficulty actually getting onto Mixture. He's been using the fancy feet earlier on to some pretty good effectiveness from what we've gotten to see on the camera, evading multiple tangle barbs, and that's what it all comes down to, especially for these first couple of minutes in the laning phase. So it's going to put them at a faint advantage. Ollie, meanwhile, finishing his first clear, but he is too late. Cryra is already working on the Scuttle Crab and will secure the bot Scuttler Ollie going to path his way through mid and go over to that top one, and doesn't look like he'll have any trouble securing it, but it does leave the bot lane out to dry a little bit. A potential gank coming through from Kryra. Good damage onto Scary Jerry, though. Already going to set them back in this trade. There's going to be the push into the wall. Shogo taking a fair bit of damage, pops the barrier to tank through it, and he survives the gank. That's 3 members committed to bot lane, and not really even going to put Shogo at a worse health position than Scary Jerry.
And Shogo had to commit that barrier. Mixture also with the Ignite. The health bars are low, but I think they're just going to go for a dive here. Flashes are available for all the members.
Good evasion there, but that's going to be a pickup with the Ishtal's impact. Kryra finds his man, and a double kill to Scary Jerry. The blue side find their gank angle, and they force it a second time.
And what good recognition to actually go for that play. They recognized that Ollie was crossing over, right? I believe he was seen on the minion wave. He takes the top crab. He's going to go for the respawns of his Raptors. They saw him take that when they initially spawned. So they know there's no possibility that this Lilia can interrupt the dive. They know that a 3v3 is not on the cards. They take that advantage. They run with it, and they get a double kill for the Kalista. And they also burn the flash from Shogo as well as the barrier from earlier. So the possibility of going for another 2v2 fight for Scary Jerry and Zyko has now increased exponentially with that.
Absolutely, and it was such a good early couple of levels for Shogo and Mixture, but that really going to put a lot of that in the trash here as a serrated Dirk already done for Scary Jerry, going to give him that additional combat power. He gets those boots crucially as well. That's going to give you that jump distance, and always something you're interested in up against the Ashe, who is a little bit of a pseudo counter to the Kalista because of how slows interact with her. Does make it difficult, does de facto slow attack speed if she insists on continuing to jump at you, and that's definitely helpful in certain situations. Didn't help out on that dive though, and does still leave Shogo on the back foot.
It certainly does. We can see Ollie is on the bot side looking to maybe fight for this dragon. Has the priority in mid as well, but Kryra's going to place down that control ward, spot it out immediately. I think a fight is inevitable here. Scary Jerry's just going in.
Yeah, great damage onto Shogo. That's that serrated Dirk doing its magic as Oli has found his way onto Kryra, but just going to get Ishtal's impact into the wall, and the turn's going to come through onto Ollie, able to evade out on those tangle barbs.
They can win the 3v3.
Focus, but Mixture just still getting worked on. It's a 1-for-1 trade here, but Aljun's on the wrong side of dodge, and Ollie gets hit by the spiraling despair. Will fall down to 5 Mini. It's going to be a kill back for Aljun, trying to fall back to Shogo, but 5 Mini is the one with all the damage here, already level 6 on this way. Crushing Moa nearly crushes him, but Aljun will stay standing with a little over 100 HP.
And Scary Jerry gets himself a kill. 5 Mini does as well, but the big breadwinner of that exchange was Aljun on the side of Zamuto's Zoomers. Getting those 2 kills is going to be able to reset, pick up some items for himself, and we got to fight the top side.
Yeah, look at this new Cassante damage. Zamuto's been evading everything in his base form for the entire fight, and he just pops the R button and immediately threatens the kill, forces the flash, forces the ult. That is the power that this champion brings, and you just can't let him in a melee range with you once you're the Smolder.
And everyone is starting to materialize around this top side. Zamuto has to get this wave shoved on in and immediately reset, which means even if Ollie does spot out Kryra on these grubs, he's not going to be able to do anything about it. He doesn't have the numbers. He doesn't have his mid laner with him. Aljun is just farming that mid lane up. It's going to be 3 grubs going over 2 Dragoon's goons. That dragon was not finished in the fight when we looked at bot lane last, so it is just them in control of the objective so far.
Ooh, nice sting from Kryra. Pulls Zamuto away from the turret, but Dragoon was just a little too far away. Not as mobile as that champion maybe once was, and that'll let Zamuto survive for now. And he still has TP, crucially, so he's going to be able to get right back here. He won't miss out on any farm. He's going to keep on stacking.
And you got to keep that stacking game in mind, right? I mean, it's the big doomsday timer of the Smolder. And based on how the rest of the game is going, you know, bot lane is behind. Aljun doing rather well in the lane, is up CS, has those 2 kills, so should really be able to put his foot on the gas around that part of the map, provide priority for Ollie, who could potentially find his way into the game. But I really think that Lilia, you know, even if you get the Smolder ahead, even if you get the Zeri ahead, you still need that magic damage threat in the Lilia, right? Because you need that to get ahead. Otherwise, it is an easy build path for the frontliners of Dragoon's Goons. They build armor, and nothing can hurt them, right? So you need a little bit of magic damage to spice things up, throw a curveball to Dragoon's Goons, and here it might be.
Yeah, 4-man squad coming into the bot lane. Scary Jerry going to pull back in Zyko. Zyko not going to be able to land the knockup.
Zyko!
Scary Jerry won't come through. Zyko uses a big pop blossom to create space for his carry. Will end up falling down, but does save Jerry's life.
Yeah.
Kryra in the area, but only watching it go down. This should be some plates over to Shogo, but damage minimized for Dragoon's Goons.
Certainly, and really well played there by Zyko. I mean, he does die for his efforts, but like you said, he keeps Scary Jerry alive. That gold bounty on the Callista remains unclaimed, and it means they have a lot more to work with now, right? That Youmuu's Ghostblade coming on in big one-item power spike for the pick. It just means Scary Jerry and Zyko can continue their aggressive endeavors, and we're going to have to keep seeing plays like we just saw. Aojun and Ollie both committed down there, giving an opportunity for Dragoon's Goons to get some space around that bot side after they reset. You can see how much vision they've claimed around that bot side river, and it's all because those members did not get that kill. They did not claim that big prize they all went for.
Absolutely. Let's Scary Jerry keep that bounty for a little bit longer. And here's these brawls in top lane, really showing what we were talking about early. When Ghost isn't available for Dragoon, there's just no aggressive angles to be had onto the Smolder. The Cassante is so dirtily, so slow, so predictable that there's just nothing he can do. Some nice footwork there from Aojun coming out on the screen, but will be able to still be feared away by Mini to avoid getting too much damage onto the way. Second spawn of Grubs, though, going to be coming up in not too long, and it's, I think, going to be a big point of contention for both of these squads. Dragoon losing a lot of health to various poke from Zamudo, and he's going to be somebody to have your eyes on for that potential fight.
And I mean, you could see Ollie on the bot side, but I love the movement coming out from Kryra. The need for Grubs isn't necessarily there, right? They got the first spawn, so if they want, they can just look for an aggressive play. They know Ollie now that Swirl Seed hits Dragoon in the face. They know the Lilia is on the top side, not there for the dive. This is exactly what we saw for those first two kills coming out from Scary Jerry. It was a 3 versus 2 dive orchestrated by Kryra, Scary Jerry, and Zyko, and they're just maybe looking to do it again here.
Very well might be. Here comes Kryro looping around pretty deep in. Mini in range for the Severing Bolt. Good evasion, though, on the Tangle Barbs, going to avoid the chain CC, but Mixture just takes so much damage. He dies instantly. Kryro going to get traded back. That credit goes over to the Karma, but it's a 2-for-1 dive, favoring the Goons, and they get some alone time with the turret plates.
And it's absolutely worth it for the Goons. Sure, they're going to lose the second spawn of Grubs. Kryra goes down in that exchange, but the kill goes over to Mixture. So they get the 2 kills. They get a plate along with it. They are running away, it seems, with the gold at this point. And all those Zamudo Zoomers are able to get objectives of their own. They're able to get some cross-map play work done for those Grubs. It just does not feel as good. And it's going to come down to how well can they utilize this Grub buff, right? Because you've got 4 ranged, you've got the ability to siege and to zone and to poke. So those Grubs could be useful, but so is a Ghost and so is Dragoon.
Yeah, Zyko coming on up here needs to land some amount of CC. Zamudo, though, just booking it in the opposite direction, and the flash will get him just out of range. He survives another attempt on his life, but the redive is being set up by Kryra. Zamudo throws down Mom, clears out the wave, trying to flap away, gets picked up by Ishtal's impact. There's the chain CC and the kill, but that's the Scary Jerry shutdown. It goes over to Ollie, and that is going to be so worth it for the Zoomers.
That is absolutely humongous for Ollie. We talked about the importance of getting the Lilia ahead. Well, there it is. He has that first item complete, so the big hurdle for this pick is kind of over with now, and you're able to index into cheaper items. You're able to get that gold a lot easier, I would say, at this point in the game. So, really big shutdown. I mean, they get the kill onto Zamudo. They complete the tower dive, but certainly a worth it trade, I would say, at the end of the day for the Zamudo Zoomers.
Absolutely. I mean, a little bit of a fumble there from the side of the Goons. They overforce their lead here, and I think they've given up a lot of what they built up earlier on. That shutdown gold now being worn by Ollie. A full turret goes down in bot. That's first turret gold getting split between Shogo and Mixture. So they now find themselves about 1.5K gold in the lead, ahead in most lanes, and set up to scale into this later game potential front-to-backs that they've been looking for.
Oh, and here comes Kryra again, has the Impale.
Yeah, nice job by Zumudo, though, just dodging out. Still evades the Impale, but that does cause him to get hit by the
arrow.
The arrow is beautiful, but not enough to get away for Zumudo. Zyko now getting focused down. That is a low-health Nico, and it is not the clone. Mixture doing his best to chase him down, forces the flash with one more throw of Spirit Fire, and these bot laners will recall with just slivers of HP. Kryra still low, too, though. There's enough members very low looking for recalls that it looks like it could be an attractive Rift Herald angle, but look at Dragoon. He's caught out Aojun, and there's the all-out. He flashes back away. Ollie now here to try to fight him out, and this is a squishy Cassante in the all-out form, but he's fighting his way through. Aojun falls. Mixture with a solo kill on the Kryra on the top side, and Shogo and Mixture plant their flag and say this lane belongs to us.
I mean, he has the aggressive support item. He's got the Malignance. This is a battle support if ever I've seen one. Mixture going crazy for the aggressive plays, and it's aggressive plays all across the board, and they're all favoring Zumudo. They want to change that, though.
Yeah, Scary Jerry and Zyko continue to force plays. It's a flash forward from Jerry. He finds Mixture and says, give me those double buffs. 4 members strong top side for the Goons. They're going to look to start off onto that Rift Herald, and they should have no problem securing it. Shogo left alone underneath the turret, but clearing it out just fine with that static shiv. Aojun with a solo inner turret bot. There's so much going on both sides of the map, neither team willing to give up anything.
And Gordo, Aojun has over 10 CS a minute. That's 168 CS at 15.5 minutes. This Zeri, managed to pick up those early kills on that bot lane exchange, but ever since then has just been a farm machine. Got the, got herself 2 turrets, is now, probably going to be able to reset, get that second item. This is the scaling advantage of having not 1, not 2, but 3 marksmen. And I have to think, all of the one they put behind in the Smolder in Zumudo, this is the one that doesn't necessarily need the gold. It doesn't need the experience. It just needs the stacks. And as time goes on, it gets closer and closer to that goal. So it feels like a ticking time bomb now for the side of the Goons. They were good in the early game. They might have a lot of really good aggressive plays, especially toward that bot side. But we're getting to a point where Ollie got that shutdown. There's so much gold into the Zeri. And Dragoon maybe wants to stop it, but Mixture goes down too.
This bot lane just constantly looking for fights, and meanwhile Dragoon has snagged Ollie out of the blast cone, but getting collapsed on by Aojun regardless. Dragoon uses the ghost to get himself out of dodge, but a 3-man squad pushing in mid means that the the Goons should be able to crack open this mid outer, and maybe even with a shot at inner. Aojun coming around on the flank, but they are still 3 members strong, and Scary Jerry is huge. They're going to try to look for their fight here, but they can't get any skills landed onto Aojun and the double marksman. They just melt through that Herald.
Yep, they deny the charge, but it is still a big tower taken for the side of the Goons. They open up a lot more of the map at the end of all of that. So it is going to help them in the next Dragon Take, not coming up for a while, but until then, they'll be able to set up that deep vision, be able to set up for picks with this Callista, with this Skarner, and just try to get some gold back. You've got to try and stop the scaling. You've got to try and stop the side lane threat that Aojun and Zumudo are constantly going for. And if you can't, then it really feels like you are going to be on death's door by the second.
And you can see that there's a real awareness of what pace the game needs to be played at from Scary Jerry and Zyko especially. They are constantly, every time they get out on the map, they're not taking time for waves, they're not taking time to make sure all the camps are cleared first. They are forcing plays, and this is the target they need them forced onto. It's Aojun, and it's a shutdown to Scary Jerry to put him right back in the gold lead.
Really beautiful rotation coming out there from Scary Jerry and Zyko. They gift that over to the Callista, like you mentioned, Gordo. And yeah, it's a big amount of gold. They shut down the Zeri. And they're going to be able to push themselves in this bot lane, which will help them, be able to further that rotations that they have been expertly maneuvering around this mid game. But on the other side, Zamudo managed to get a tower, managed to get himself more stacks. And I'm really interested now. We're 18 minutes in. Usually the Smolder counter is, at least for bot lane, it's around 10 stacks a minute. For soul lanes, I know it's a little bit more, as he's going to get a few stacks here. He's getting engaged on by 3 potentially, but he's just going to be able to walk away with that.
Yeah, he's a little under 10 stacks a minute at a little over 180 as we crest over to 19 minutes. So, not the end of the world for the little dragon by any means. The fact that
he's
now
getting
has
there.
a Spear of Shojin means that he should be able to stack even faster. He'll be able to get the full stacks on time for Soul 100% because it's been 1 dragon apiece so far. That's pretty good for him and does set them up to have these strong front-to-backs, assuming that they can keep their flanks covered, as we discussed in Champion Select.
Yep, and this is kind of the big conundrum of this comp. You are good, you've got a lot of range, and poke is the name of the game for your squad, but front-to-backing against this team cannot be overstated how much of a bad idea that is, and we might just see why.
June with the face check just gets slammed into the wall, flashes out, and gets himself out to safety. So a little win here for the Zoomers, or for the Goons. I keep mixing up which team is which. Little win here for the Goons, going to give them some alone time to take down the last of the outer turrets, going to let them shove in the wave, going to let them take control around Baron as it spawns, but they don't get that cash out. They don't actually manage to take June off the map.
Nope, they do, but they burn the flash at the end of the day, which is a crucial summoner spell. We talked about it a lot in the draft, but now is probably going to be the time we're going to see it in action. The flank game from Zyko, from Kryra, it is now important because we're starting to see teams group up, teams fluctuate around the same lane, and we're seeing it here.
Yeah, another big flank coming through from Kryra, and there's going to be a double knockup from Zyko, but the damage, it's not here. It's support and jungle, and they're not able to follow on up. Dragoon going to be able to finish off Shogo. Now he's trying to dive into the back line. It's going to be a 1-for-1 so far. Dragoon gets put to sleep. They're trying to chain CC him.
Big swirl seed.
Great angles to fire away, and Samudo so close to all these executes. Look at the slivers of health that the members are left on. Dragoon devours the fruit, leaving the rest of his teammates in the dust, but Samudo is not done flapping. He chases down the remaining members. We get a little bit of a screen freeze, but that is a 4-for-1 team fight going over to the Zoomers.
Oh my god, please don't tell me we have another spectate bug right at the eclipse of the smolder of the gameplay that this Zamudo Zoomer squad was built around. They play the fight slow. They manage to get the poke off. They create distance, and it's all of Dragoon's goons that get felled one by one, and it's gonna net them their second dragon of the game. The pace of this match is exactly where this red side squad wants it to be, and God, I really, really hope we don't have this bug that has been plaguing League of Legends for the past week or so happen with such a banger game going on.
See, you say the past week or so, Quacks. I would say the past year or so. They fixed it.
It's been on and off.
They fix it for periods of time, but when it keeps coming back, I don't think it's really fixed. Or at least they haven't found a good, reliable, long-term fix. So, disappointment here for sure if we're not going to be able to get this one back up and running. But what a game we have had so far here. That is a big attempt at one of those massive flanks, but Zyko and Kryra, they found the engage, and there just wasn't follow-up. It took way too long. They lost their entire health bars waiting for the backup, and the only prize they could get is Shogo, and it cost them being up so far and getting collapsed on in turn by Aojun and Zamudo.
And huge highlights there to Mixture, actually. He kept Shogo alive for a really long time. I mean, obviously, Shogo had the barrier, had the flash, so, credit to him as well. But the shields, the ability to create that space, although the Ashe, like you said, Gordo, goes down eventually, they committed so many resources and so much time that it allowed the rest of Zamudo's Zoomers to kind of circle around them, create kind of a perimeter for that fight, a line, and just push on in, keep the poke up. And they didn't have anything left in the tank. The Dragoons, they used everything on the Ashe, so they just had no other option but to run and survive. But as we saw, it might only be one survivor, if that, as Dragoon is sent running with his Intofus between his legs.
And whether he gets out of here or not isn't particularly important. What matters is it's another fight win with 1 million stacks going over to the Smolder. He's very, very close to that execute threshold now. This is going to be a free dragon going over to the Zoomers. They're going to be up 2-1 in that department. They hold on to the gold lead. 30-second death timers on most of the enemy team means they'll at the very least be able to get mid-wave shoved in, or they'll have time to get a reset, spend their money, and get back out there without giving a turn over to the Goons. They're in a fantastic position here. They can do whatever they want. They can spend all their money. They can regroup, and they can go and challenge that Baron if they want to potentially take another fight. All of these engage tools are down. All of the flashes are down, except for on Kryra on the other side. They've expended a couple of them themselves, but I think they're super well equipped here coming into the later game.
Certainly are. I would say the only thing they're under-equipped with is the vision, right? Obviously, once you take this dragon, you're probably going to want to spend your gold because you just got a huge cash out from all the members of Zamudo Zoomers. And that gives you, I would say, maybe 10 seconds to place down that vision and try to establish a line. Maybe not enough time to really threaten the Baron, though. I think after that, though, you look for a pick using Shogo with that arrow. You try to find a pick maybe with the sleep from Ollie as well. And if you get one of them, then you start the Baron. And this is actually a perfect Nasher for a comp like Zamudo Zoomers, right? That perfect line to just be able to poke them down and, maximize your damage in a space. So that's really what I would say the game plan going forward is. I really hope we get to see that game plan, though.
Yeah, I do too. We've been stuck here for a little bit, engaged in combat as we wait to see if we can get back into the game. But we're going to throw it to a quick break here while we get on to, or try to find a way to get back onto the Rift for game number 1. Worst case scenario, we'll be back for game number 2 before too long. We'll see you guys in a little bit.
You wanna stay, you wanna stay, you wanna stay, and I just know I wanna go away, I wanna go away, I wanna go away, and I just know I wanna go away. You
Too many hours in a day, wasted on daydreams of somebody that I can lean on, holds me up when
Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's stream. Unfortunately, we were not able to recover game number 1, but it was a win for the Zoomers at the end of the day. They managed to execute this comp. They managed to keep on kiting back, and they managed to come on up with the win, despite how far ahead Scary Jerry was able to get.
I mean, we kind of saw it at the end of our broadcast before we unfortunately got Riot Bud Light aced by their famous spectator bugs that, like Gordo said, have been kind of going on and off all year. But yeah, we had kind of seen the comp scale on up, begin to really eclipse in power the scaling of Dragoon's goons, right? The Zamudo Smolder was starting to get its stacks. It got a ton of stacks in that last fight before we got paused. We were seeing Aojun. All of those stacks were finally, starting to materialize into 3 items, which it looked like he got pretty quickly after we paused. And after that, you've got 2 marksmen along with a Karma, along with a lot of poke from Ashe and Lilia. And the game just feels so difficult at that point, especially when you have drafted essentially what is a full in-game comp with a little bit of poke, I will say, here and there from the Hui. So yeah, it is to be expected, the result of game number 1. And it was a damn fun one. And it's a dang shame that we had to go for a pause. But game 2 will most likely deliver. I can't wait for that. And hopefully, with enough belief power, cross all your fingers, that we won't get paused in game 2.
For sure. So let's get into the draft for game 2 here. We're ready to kick things off. Already going to be that side swap, and Dragoon can get his Darius band away again. Reminder, we are on full Fearless, so all 10 champs up there, they are going to be off of the board for game number 2 and for game number 3 as well. We'll see how these teams are going to adapt to that situation. Quite a few 80 carries off the board, to be sure.
Yep. Yeah, so now I'm starting to think maybe both of these squads are more particularly the coaches are thinking, okay, now we really got to get our foot in the door for these 80 carries before they get taken away. So, the Ashe, the Smolder, the Zeri all off the board, along with that Kalista, narrowly missing that one. I would expect we're probably not going to see a marksman first picked, but I certainly think from here on out for games 2 and 3, we are going to see that bot lane duo paired up in the first phase of those picks. As we are moving along from the draft, Darius, Ziggs, and Zach all banned away. Aurora, Yone, and Corki banned on the other side. Skarner taken off of the table. A lot of B1 champions that, are very popular at high levels of play are no longer available, right? You would ordinarily say in this situation something like a Skarner would be your big B1, but that isn't here. We're in Fearless. So I am interested to see if we're going to get those supports locked in. I really like the idea of maybe going for a first pick rel, but it's looking like we have our mind dead set on the marksman. Maybe you go something like a Syndra. Okay, there we go. There was a lot of champions being hovered, but that's the one they settle on.
Yeah, I think that's a strong choice. With Hui off the board, it's kind of the best in-slot mage you can get right now. They were considering Jax as well. I think with a lot of top laners, you're pretty comfortable with that. With Zamudo, you might want to give yourself a little bit of opportunity to be flexible, depending on how the draft breaks on out. He's played probably more unique champions than just about anybody here. Don't quote me on that. I haven't checked, but feels like a safe bet. This is the guy who's got, games of Kale and Riven and Swain and stuff under his belt. So I think he's probably pretty up there in champion diversity. But now going to be the Sejuani locked in for Kryra, another powerful jungler, and one that wants to be paired up with melee top laners. I wouldn't mind seeing the Jax for Dragoon here, given that is a really high priority pick, and it is available here if he wants it. Instead, maybe, though, looking at that Orianna as a counter to the Syndra, that surprises me. You could R3 that if you wanted to, but not going to happen.
I think there is also a world where, we've seen Shogo hate on the state of 80 carries before and say marksmen are just better in the bot lane, plain and simple. So there is a world where we actually potentially could see that Syndra in the bot lane. I think that is a very real possibility. Maybe Shogo, though, doesn't want to stoop to that level We know how much he actually hates mages in the bot lane, and he loves those marksmen, right? We know him as the big carry boy, and he wants to play big carry boy champion. So maybe that doesn't fall in line with Syndra. Maybe it does. We'll have to wait and see. But it is going to be the Udyr followed by the Jarvan. So Zamudo gonna take that Udyr up in the top lane. Ollie gonna pair it up with his Jarvan as well. So I'm interested to see, actually. So there's a lot of setup that we're currently getting here from the Zamudo Zoomers, and I'm interested if maybe this actually is a Syndra mid lane, what we're going to see in that AD carry role, because we talked about the importance of getting that bot lane in the first phase with how little choices there are for marksmen. But it doesn't look like any team is too concerned about it at this current moment. Now, I have to think you go something like Renekton here, right? Being able to bust through the shield of Udyr, the shield of Jarvan could be really useful. On top of that, it fits in with the current state of your draft, which is full on engage. It really feels like where we saw Poke versus sort of Death Ball comps in game number 1. Both of these teams are looking to just go Death Ball and fight each other hands with hands.
Yeah, all right. Looking like draft law crashed here. So this is a...
Oh, man, nothing can work today.
This is an Ezreal on R3. We can cast our way through this draft, Quacks. You just have to open up Pop-Tart's stream here of the client, not to pull back the curtain too much. But we can play by play. Okay, Pop-Tart's here with the picks. This is going to be some real small font that you need for the remaining bands. But that should be coming on through here before too long. The Ezreal pick here does give Scary Jerry a solid lane if he does end up against that Syndra. And it does interest me here, because if it is Syndra mid the way that we assume it's going to be, that would mean then here that the Zoomers have blind picked both solo laners, as we do assume it is going to be Udyr going into the top lane for Zamudo. And I mean, unless you can get yourself a really crazy matchup for Shoko, that just surprises me as the option here.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly feels like there are very few and far between counters to that Udyr pick. This champion is really dominant in the laning phase, and especially Zamudo, who has piloted this champion in essentially the brightest lights for Tier 2. He played this against Dragonsteel, during the on Dragonsteel against FearX Starforge in this in the NACL finals. He was an absolute menace on it, right? This definitely is a pocket pick of his, because I feel like it definitely has fallen off in terms of priority with meta, but he's kept on with it, and he's been just as dominant with it the whole way through.
Yeah, definitely has looked really, really good for what we've gotten to see out of him. So the draft has Kai'Sa Jhin bans on blue side, and we do not know what the red side bans are because, yeah, it just crashed completely. So they're probably handling it in Discord specifically so that we can't see it. It's a conspiracy against us.
Yeah,
we'll hopefully be able to report on these drafts once they are fully done.
Yep,
going to be getting out of game before too long. Luckily, we aren't the priority here. The priority is the players, and they're still going to be able to get their stuff together one way or the other. Oh, look at that. That's the Cloudflare failure taking up the background. You love to see that as we get into game number 2. So a couple more picks left to select. A whole bot lane for the Zoomers, as well as a mid lane, no, not a mid lane, a top lane plus support for the Goons.
Yeah, and I have to think maybe one of the AD carry bands, I'm going to make a prediction, even though we've got nothing, is hopefully, I would say something like Varus could work with both of these comps. I really think that champion is strong at the current moment, especially at 3 items, where it's looking like both of these teams really want to put the pedal to the metal and scale and kind of eclipse their power at that point. So I think Varus would be really good here. I think Kai'Sa would be really good here. If Shoko maybe wants to go back to his carry roots, we could see something like a Jinx. But again, not a lot of AD carries to go off of, right? So this means that I think the AD carries that are there, you're really going to have to dig deep in game number 3, because past that, what do you have available, right? You've maybe got Aphelios, Draven, Vayne. We've seen Shogo go aggressive with some of those picks. We've seen him pilot the Draven in the ACL before. But you're really starting to dumb down what is meta versus what you can just realistically pick that is actually semi-decent or can be drafted around at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we get to see, oh my god, set is locked in. There's a set for Dragoon here as the counter pick for Zamudo's Udyr. Well, we can try to little piece together little bits and pieces. I'm going to guess this is R5 set. I don't think you R4 the set. I assume there's some kind of engaged support picked here. We're going to find out what the phase 2 bans are in a second. We're kind of learning about this draft piece by little piece as we go through.
Yep. I have to think probably going to see some engaged supports banned because of how much emphasis both of these teams are putting toward that scrap, right? You've got the engage from the Jarvan followed up by the Syndra on the other side. You've got the Sejuani, and the set, I would say, is also good at kind of countering those engages with his own showstopper along with the Shockwave. So to add on to that, you're probably going to want things like the Leona, things like the Rel are really popular at the current moment. You could even go something, you could even go something like Bard if you want to go for a little bit of setup, just hold people in place until your combo can go off. And hey, when you've got a set, the roaming is there. You got someone just leave the game. Can nothing go right today, Gordo? What is happening?
We're just going to hang on. We're just going to do podcasts today, Quacks. We're doing the Salt Mine off schedule. Mine. Yeah, let's get Slayer and TDS in here. And
Where's Grump? Where's Grump? Where's the Grump? Where's the Grump portrait?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, actually, Pop-Tart can be... Whoa, what?
Pop-Tart can be Grump.
How have we rejoined? We've rejoined the lobby, but 6 champions are already picked. What is going on? I've never...
This is a draft of all time.
Yeah, okay, it's been brought up. We're going through the phase 1 bans, but 6 champions have already been picked. I've never seen this in my life. All right, they're just picking the champions that were already picked. The client's collapsing before our very eyes, Quacks.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something else. How's your day? How's your week?
My day is amazing, actually. I went to go see that new Smile movie. Got the hell scared out of me multiple times. I'm the most skittish person alive when it comes to those movies. So I'm still reeling from that. I got a little bit of PTSD, but I would recommend going to see it if you want a flick for Halloween. Don't go see that nasty Terrifier stuff. Those movies are trash. Go see Smile and then go watch Smile 2. Those are where the real cinemas are at.
All right. That's exciting. All right, we're getting into the second phase of picks for the first time. So we may, in fact, get a little bit more show. We know this is Ezreal. Yes. This must be Ezreal, Scary Jerry. If you pick something that isn't Ezreal, my man. All right. Ezreal picks. Shogo Mixture. What are they going for? They know they're up against...
There we go.
Shogo Vayne is locked in. And now, well, so, maybe it's good that the draft crashed, because otherwise everybody would have had to listen to us theorizing about how it might be Syndra bot and Vayne top, with the Udyr doing something else silly. So now they didn't have to listen to that, and we just know that it's Shogo Vayne, straight up, with Lulu for Mixture. Exciting to see Mixture try his hand at some of those enchanters. That's not really something he's brought out much of. He's played a game of Hwei, a game of Bard, a game of Senna, but otherwise has been all in on those engaged supports over these last couple of weeks. Going to try his hand at the Lulu now, facing off against this Ezreal Nautilus duo.
And I'm really surprised neither of these teams even picked or banned the Rel. This champion is currently the most played champion in the Combine at the current moment. To see no attention paid to it makes the game a lot more interesting, because I think when you've got a character like Nautilus, you're definitely looking at those picks paired up with the Sejuani. There is a lot of opportunity for them to catch Zamudo's Zoomers off all out of position. We saw how good they were at kind of going for those rotations, particularly Scary Jerry and Zyko were always roaming, always looking for picks, always looking for dives. And I think they've drafted a bot lane that really rewards that kind of playstyle, rewards that acknowledgement of being able to catch people off guard and catch people potentially out of position to get your game into an accelerated state.
For sure, and I think it's really interesting here that you bring up the Rel going through, because you know who else is through is the Leona. So
yeah,
it does kind of open up a potential, and not to get too far ahead of ourselves, we'll start talking about draft number 3, but I love Fearless Theory, so I'm going to do that. It'll be really interesting to see if one team tries to force one of those bans, if it gets responded to with the other being banned, if that leaves open new power picks onto the table that have been taken away thus far, particularly some of these pocket picks that have been getting banned away, right? Aojun's been eating 3 mid lane bans every game. Dragoon's been losing his Darius. Kryra's been losing Zach. There could really get to be some interesting draft states for game number 3 because of those 2 champions being left up, and it'll be something to keep in the back of your mind as we do get over to that stage. But we've got a whole second game of League of Legends coming up first, and the Sejuani set, a very powerful, I would say underrated top jungle duo, going to be at the top of my mind as we see how Zamudo's immovable Udyr stands up to it.
I mean, you know, Sejuani thrives off of champions that have high attack speed. Set does just that. So I think they're, especially when you look at the other lane of Scary Jerry and Zyko, this isn't a lane that you necessarily are dying to play for, right? Similar to, you know, kind of different from game number 1, where we saw both junglers pathing on toward that bot lane. I think there is a very real possibility that we see Kryra path on up, try to bully out Zamudo, try to get Dragoon in a winning position toward this laning phase, because realistically, that's the only time you can get the set ahead, right? On those first couple of items is when you want to get that snowball rolling. You won't have a lot of opportunities to do that after the 2-item point. Once you start to get toward that mid game, it gets a lot more difficult to get that pick ahead. So I want to see, like you said, this top lane power duo really be made useful in those first few minutes. You know, you take control of the top river, you get priority in the top side, you get grubs to Set. I think Set is probably one of the most underrated side laners in the game. This man takes towers like no man's business, right? He is a very proficient neutral objective taker and is really able to put the pressure on those sides. So I want to see that being played for by Zamudo's Zoomers. The other side for Dragoon's Goons, though, I have to think the draft, your idea and what you want to do is just a team fight, right? Play around Shogo being able to make plays on the Vayne. I certainly think they will be playing for bot lane this game. You don't really have to play for the Udyr, so play for those dragons. And I think it's just a question of which team does it better, right?
That is definitely going to be a big question. So a lot on the table here to see what is going to happen in the early game to set the pace of this matchup. And really going to be looking at that Vayne Lulu duo and how they're going to be able to perform. We saw a nice dominant laning phase out of Scary Jerry and Zyko the first game. Will they be able to reprise that role, and will it be enough to get them over the hump coming into game number 2, as it was the Zoomers who ended up taking that first game, even though we weren't able to finish it here on stream. And with that, we are ready to get started for game number 2 on the Summoner's Rift. Zoomers taking on Dragoon's Goons. See who is going to be able to walk away with an extra dub in the win column.
That is going to be the question, and hopefully no technical difficulties will prevent us from being able to tell who's going to get that second win for this series. Yeah, let's hope and pray, cross our fingers, maybe cross our toes as well while we're at it. I don't know a single person alive that can do that, but if you can do it, you should probably try.
Yep. You should. You know, Kryra watching for this early invade. I think he saw Ollie. They do drop some pings on towards each other, and Scary Jerry and Zyko positioning like they want to do an early invade. They'll also get spotted by Shogo and Mixtures. So no early shenanigans to be had here. Will be just a little bit slower, just a little bit more chill.
For sure. And Feimini being wrapped around, the question is he going to walk up too far? It doesn't look like he is, but I like this look from Zamudo and Ollie. They're just looking to be in the face of Kryra, deprive the Sejuani of resources early on. Very good look to take control of this top side, which, like we said, Dragoon's Goons want to play for.
Well, fighting starting out already. Dragoon going to get
Oof.
spotted, and here's Shogo up at the top side. What an interesting
Lane
start
swap.
here from them. So it's a little bit of a pseudo lane swap here. Scary Jerry and Zyko going to be left alone in bottom lane. Ollie going to full on invade this top side, trying to deny Kryra his first red buff. Mixture supporting Aojun in mid, and no real response here from the Goons yet.
And it's going to have to be Dragoon. I mean, they know exactly where the Jarvan is, so they can't. He can't exactly TP to top lane, right? He's just going to get dove. So he's going to have to go to mid lane. But I think now with Kryra being able to bully out the Jarvan's health bar a little bit, being able to relieve pressure around that top side, even for the time being, yeah, you can see he's kind of hovering around the lanes, just seeing where to go next. He's still going to go to the bot lane, it looks like. But really good look from Zamudo Zoomers here into the early game. They want to mess up the set pick and just make sure that it is deprived of resources. In the early game, the phase, we said the set needed to get those resources.
Yeah, and I mean, they've definitely done it successfully here. You know, they're both at 0 CS, each top laner, but I mean, that's way more fine for Udyr than it is for Zamudo's set. And the other thing is, you know, how usefully they were able to use their time, right? Zamudo really helping Shogo crash that wave earlier on. Now the wave is coming on through. Zamudo doing his best to clear it out. Mixture is here for the backup. Will the shielding be enough? Zamudo flashes over, trying to just take them back away from the turret.
Scary Jerry took aggro.
Scary Jerry barely stays alive thanks to the barrier, but Dragoon will fall. Mixture gets himself one back, and in a 4 versus 2, I think that's plenty good. 5 Mini, though, looking for the solo kill on Aojun. Taking damage from the minions. Flashback away. Both mid laners stay alive, and the whole while Shogo keeping this wave pushed in on top.
It's action across the board here, Gordo. Already 3.5 minutes in, and the teams just want to scrap. They want to brawl. 5 Mini and Aojun living by the skin of their teeth, but the real winner of all of that is going to be Dragoon. After the first couple of minutes of difficulty, you know, burning that flash, being bullied out of his lane, he gets the kill. TP's on back toward the top side, is going to be able to catch this wave now that Shogo has, you know, Shogo is currently shoving in. So good looks for the set. And really, Zamudo Zoomers, they get a kill back, but it's only onto Mixture, so it's not the biggest deal in the world.
Definitely. Zyko going to be starting off this fight here. Zamudo going to be melting him down, though. Even in the 3v2, Zamudo still staying alive. Turtle Stance doing its job. They get the first of the kills. Glitter Lance slows down.
He's alive!
Zamudo still sustaining back up. The Udyr sustain is ridiculous. Ollie arrives to turn around the play, and it is a 3-0 to the side of the Zoomers.
And Zamudo managing to keep himself alive. The dragon, the young dragon of Dragonsteel, continues to breathe a life into this game after what was looking like a first rough few minutes for Zamudo Zoomers. It is himself that manages to get a win back. They get themselves some kills on the board. They completely thwart that play, that 3v2 play by Dragoon's Goons. And what a good look in this early game for them.
Zamudo's Turtle Stance, slow and steady, wins the race, but Zyko looking to get this fight started. A flash shield from Mixture saves Aojun's life.
Wow.
And this Lulu play has been impeccable. Mixture bails out another for a 5th kill to the Zoomers.
It is just the counter ganks coming out here from Zamudo's Zoomers. Ollie continuing to be at the right place at the right time. And now Scary Jerry might be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Oh my goodness. I mean, this Udyr is just a menace. He may have been shut down earlier on. He may have been denied the farm. He may have half of Ezreal's CS, but he's still level 4 Udyr, and he's making that pain felt. And Mixture, again, on point with this Lulu. The Glitter Lances have been having a massive impact when he's paired up with this Udyr, allowing him to get more autos, allowing him to kite more effectively. The Udyr-Lulu duo is the truth in these kinds of fights.
And I don't think I've ever seen a 3-level gap between the support. Zyko gonna ding level 3, but Mixture is level 5. And they're going in for the 3. They're going in for the 2v2. They do not care.
I mean, Zamudo's so fast. Zyko and Scary Jerry are so slow. There's so many shields. What are they to do? Zamudo and Mixture are just demolishing them. They need to call over Kryra again. And Kryra, he's not going to be able to get this kill. The shielding and the stuns and the movement speed mean they can back off anytime they want.
Zamudo popping off in this game, and it's going to be up to Dragoon's Goons to try and put a cap on that. Here they go, 3-man dive.
Yeah, going for it again. Mixture wisely keeping his distance. The shielding comes through.
Mixture?
Zamudo's still alive. He's sustaining back up. Dragoon is taking the turret, and the dive fails again. Aojun's here to pick up the pieces and make it 2 more kills to the blue team.
And fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. But you cannot fool Zamudo into this game. He and Mixture turn the dive sideways for the 2nd time in a row. And surely now Zamudo is saying, have you learned your lesson? It looks like you haven't. Kryra is down in the bot lane again, but where's the damage? This is a Nautilus and a Sejuani. They're not even going to go for it.
They're sending 4 people bot.
They're sending them all.
Get away with it. They keep insisting that he can't keep getting away with it. They're in full Aaron Paul mode right now, and you know what? He's gonna keep getting away with it. Mixture's here for the backup again, and as long as these 2 are in the lane, it feels like a foregone conclusion.
God.
Level 6 for Mixture for the rampant growth, and Zamudo 1 versus 3, or 2 versus 3, I suppose, keeps stepping forward. They cannot stay in this lane. They cannot tussle with Zamudo and Mixture and Zyko at a slither of HP.
They're going again.
Ali coming in for the dive. It's about to be another one to Mixture.
Oh my god! It is another failed attempt on Zamudo's life, and Zamudo is absolutely depriving life of the Dragoons of Goons right now. He's even getting plates for his efforts while they have been focused hard at work on trying to take down this Udyr on the bot side. Ollie got those grubs on the top side. They have gotten CS into Aojun. He's 3-0, and it's 11-1 in kills in less than 10 minutes, Gordo.
It has been absolutely crazy here. I mean, Zamudo's going to get a lot of the credit because he's the one, you know, playing the champion with a little more autonomy. But I do want to swing back and highlight Mixture again. Mixture has been playing these engagements so well. The shielding has been on point, especially in that dive. He saves the shield for a very long time to bait them in even further. And the glitter lances have just been on point as well, constantly getting slows on 2 or 3 people when a worse placed skill shot could get only 1. He's been a big part of these plays as well. Aojun with some nice footwork gets out of that stun from Kryra. Might be forced to flash here. Will do it to avoid the flail. And that's going to be all she wrote for another attempt on a Zoomer's life. They're too fast. They got too many hands. They're going to be able to get out.
Yep. And now they've got the kills to back up the state of the game. They just need those objectives, and they're all starting to come up. The Dragon yet to be claimed by either of the squads, but those second spawn of grubs coming up in a little less than a minute. Zamudo making his way toward the top side. And I mean, surely that's just a checkmate at this point in the game. 4-1-4, so much. 10 stacks on the Dark Seal, by the way. This Udyr is completely unstoppable. His presence alone should dissuade any attempt at trying to contest a neutral.
And, you know, another aspect of just how well these ganks have been played around and how effectively they've been neutralized, you see it on the Aojun there as well, is not only are they not getting kills on these outnumbered plays for the side of the Goons, they're not even getting these guys out of lane. These guys are surviving 2 versus 1s, 3 versus 2s, 4 versus 2s, and they just stay there and keep farming. Not only do they not die, but they're just acting like nothing's even happened. Here's another fight breaking out. Ollie taking a fair bit of damage. Scatter of the Week not going to work on the Dragoon. Great positioning from him, but Giant Growth going to potentially get them out.
Zamudo!
Cataclysm, nicely done by Ollie, playing to the limits, gets back in, gets back out, and it's another kill over to his team, and they're not slowing down yet. Mixture still facing forward, has those big slows from the Glitter Lance, and Zamudo completely unmovable. Shogo arriving to the fray as well, give them a little bit of extra damage on the back end. And the fight's already over. This is an 8K gold lead, Quacks.
Yeah, this is, even in games of like Emerald Elo, this is an insane gold lead. You do not see this on this level of competition. At this point in the game, you would expect maybe a 2K gold lead, 3K maybe to be the maximum amount of difference between these squads, but no, it is an 8,000 gold difference between the two. And it feels just so difficult for Dragoon's Goons to do anything at this point in the game. Zamudo is so far ahead. You're going to get 5 grubs. You've got the side lane threat in the Udyr. You've got the powerful champions that scale as well. The Vayne only just needs items. Once it gets 2 or 3 items, Shogo is going to be able to go absolutely wild. And Aojun, the closer and closer he gets to those stacks, the worse it's going to get for Scary Jerry and Mini, and potentially even at some point Dragoon, with how behind this set is as well. So the current state of the game, I cannot stress this enough. It really feels like Dragoon's Goons dug themselves a hole, and now they can do nothing to get out of it.
Yeah, I mean, we're at the point here, we're far less calling the game and more so eulogizing it. It's done for. We're just going to talk about what happened, what the life and times were like, maybe get some more good moments in here that we can reflect on after the game, but that's about it. It feels like this game, at least the result, should be a foregone conclusion, although this is something to look at for the purposes of a Combine, right? How effectively are Zamudo and his teammates going to be able to close out from this lead? Because it should be a foregone conclusion that they can win it, but they do need to balance accelerating the game and denying any capacity to come back while not over-forcing. Aojun might be doing the latter right here as he gets collapsed on by 3 members. Will give over that shutdown. What can they get in trade? They're looking to take 5 plates in mid.
I mean, they could potentially even get this tower. I mean, the wave is pushing on in. Kryra and Zyko, they're going to move over, but it is far too late. Basically every single plate before 14 minutes has been taken by Zamudo Zoomers. All 5 plates in the bot lane, all 5 plates in the mid lane, 2 in the top lane, and Zamudo's going to get himself a bit of a consolation prize here as Mini's got nowhere to go.
And this was a great representation of what I was just asking for. Ollie's going to be able to get out of here. So again, right? You don't want to overexert yourself. You don't want to give over more than you need to. You know, you're 8K gold ahead. You don't have to give up a side and let your opponents just take stuff for free. But if Aojun is going to be covering topside, you're at risk of them committing 3 members. What can you get when they do that? A whole turret plus a kill back? That's good.
Oh,
That's
boy.
worth it. And they're going to look for another opportunity right here, right now. Zamudo TPing in. The slow lands onto Kryra, and it feels like that's all it takes to guarantee kill number 1. Zamudo not slowing down here either. Going to get showstopped back away by Dragoon, but Shogo arrives from the top side. He's going to melt that one down, no problem. And it's a 2-for-0 yet again to Zamudo Zoomers.
And they're going to take the dragon, the first one of the game, but like, does it really matter? Is Soul really what we're looking at this point in the game? I don't think this game is going to go on for potentially even another 10 minutes, much less 20, when Soul could be on the line. They've got 5 grubs. They've got a 5-1 Udyr, a 4-1 Syndra. Hell, even Mixture is unkilled in this game. This is a 3-0-10 Lulu with a 300 gold bounty. You never see those.
No, you don't. And another little aspect there, don't give over that shutdown. Be responsible with it. These are the things that this game becomes about now because, again, we know how it's going to end. The question is how clean will getting there be? And so far, it's been quite clean. I can't say that the Goons have been choosing maybe the perfect moments to contest here, but their options are so limited. They feel like they need to go in here and get some of this farm, but it's so constantly costing them their lives.
And it's getting to a point in the game, you know, we're 15 minutes in, almost 16, but it's a 10,000 gold, or over a 10,000 gold lead. We're getting to the point where it doesn't feel like you have any options, right? I mean, you looked for picks onto Aojun earlier on that top side, managed to get that, but that was traded in tow for a mid tower. Now you're getting bullied out of your own jungle if you're Kryra. The Herald is still up. You can see there's 2 members of Dragoon's Goons on that top side, so the chances of them maybe getting collapsed on here, even if they get Aojun, are high, as they're going to go for it anyway.
It's another play onto Aojun. This time, though, it's not going to be a trade. They're sending members up here to try to respond. They are going to lose Aojun, but what are they going to get on the other side? Cataclysm comes through and forces the flash out of 5 mini. Zyko has to flash away as well, but they're not giving up on the play yet. Here comes Kryra. Nice immune from Zamudo. Just walks right through the Glacial Prison, and now it's Shogo's turn to clean up the fight. A triple kill to Shogo on the Vayne, and Dragoon left all alone, trying to defend this turret, but 4 members plowing their way through, looking to make this a full-on quadra for Shogo on the Vayne. He gets pulled into the turret, and he will give up the kill. It's a shutdown to Dragoon, but more structures for the side of the Zoomers.
They're going to take that top lane tower. They've got so much gold in their pocket. It just keeps on ballooning. They found Aojun, but they lost nearly every member in the process. Shogo, though, going down a bit unfortunate there. The tower juggling, the tower aggro juggling, just a little too lost in the sauce there, as the game going to continue. Basically, nothing changes with that, though. I mean, congratulations to Dragoon's Goons. You got a kill. The Herald is still up. I feel like Ollie, if he wanted to, could just march there right now, right? All of his teammates are respawning. They own the entire map. And you know, you were talking about this being a eulogy. Now, Gordo, during the draft, and we had all those technical difficulties, you asked me how my day was. I feel like this is a point in time where I should ask you how your day was, because realistically, what else is there to talk about, man?
My day's been good, man. I'm excited. The Bazaar comes out on Wednesday. I'm gonna play some of that.
Okay.
You know,
Nice.
it's gonna be chill, but I'm gonna play maybe a little bit of League of Legends in there too. If it speaks
gamer
to me.
move.
Baker's going to the finals again. It's a good day. It's a good day for League of Legends. It's a good week for League of Legends all around. Although I would have liked to see a Chovy Night finals.
As a professional T1 hater, I can definitely.
I was rooting for Chovy too, man. I get it,
Yeah.
but
I'm so sad.
I can't deny that it's cool.
Oh boy, Shogo.
All right, Shogo. Gonna have to really
Back
fight
into the
this
game.
one out now. Knows? I'm surprised 5 Mini didn't go for that ultimate, but he's gonna pay for it now. Wombo combo in the Cataclysm as knockups abound for Mixture's ultimate. It's a double kill already to Shogo. Scary Jerry stunned up off the flank. 4 members fall, and it's another win to the Zoomers.
And now is your time to buy the Zamudo stocks. If you weren't a believer before, if you thought the NACL champion title for him, the MVP of the finalists, was just a fluke, just a lucky shot, now it is time to change your mind, as they are going to get that ace. They're going to charge the Herald in, not to the Nexus towers, but they want more. They're going to take a second inhib for their efforts. Likely not going to look for the end. Where's Aojun going? He's off camera.
Aojun is up on the top side. Oh, he's crashing Rift Herald into the top inner. Meanwhile, the team looking to win a fight 4 versus 5. Glacial Prison connects onto Shogo. But shielding and tenacity going to get him out of there, or the cleanse rather. So he has no problem walking out of this one. 2 inhibitors fall pre-20 minutes. Zamudo dancing on him a little bit. All structures down except for the top inhibitor turret, top inhibitor, and the Nexus turrets themselves. And this has been an excellent snowball from a team that has not really played too many games together, right? It's a Combine squad thrown together, playing with different iterations all the time, and yet this has been, you know, cleaner than many NACL teams close out after they get a massive lead.
And it's actually really funny. I mean, you talk about the lack of cohesion from the Zamudo Zoomers, and then you look on the other side, it's got Scary Jerry and Zyko, the best bot lane, potentially in a tier 2. I bet Zamudo is thinking in his mind it's a DSTL player gap, as he gets to put the hammer down on his teammates in this Combine. And it's looking like the final nail in the coffin is going to be this Baron.
Yeah, he sure does here. He's pulled back in, staying alive, a 1 versus 3, and going forward. Talked about this duo so much this game, but Mixture and Zamudo on the Lulu Udyr are completely unstoppable in this game number 2. Scary Jerry dives into the back looking for mixture, but an explosive ultimate from Aojun will shut him down. 4 members marching into the base. 1 objective bounty claimed cross map, but I think this game is done for, Quacks. A 21-30-ish win coming through soon for Zamudo Zoomers. Dragoon trying his best to buy some time. Mini gets the recall, but Shogo is the cavalry that arrives just in time. This game is over.
It has been over for, I would say, the last 15 minutes, Gordo, but the Nexus going to signal the end and the return of cameras to our faces. Because, good God, do you really want to look at that? That is a murder scene right there. Children should not be exposed to such a gruesome rated R game of League of Legends, because that was just a slaughter through and through. That was the, if game number 1 was, you know, the gospel that everyone is going to talk about for how, you know, close a lot of these games in this Combine have been, the game number 2 is just the Antichrist. This was, by every definition of the word, probably the biggest stomp I have seen in the Combine so far. And I've been watching the games. Even when I haven't been casting them, I've been trying to tune in. And I have never, ever seen such a dominant performance from a team like I did from the Zamudo Zoomers here.
Yeah, I mean, good guy Zoomers ending the game so fast that we can't get the spectator bug again. So we do make it all the way to a Nexus explosion for game number 2. And game number 3 coming in soon here, as that is a 2-0 lead to the Zoomers, but nonetheless, they will still play a game number 3. They still will get some more footage in front of these coaches and scouts, and they will still continue to show what they can in this fearless scenario. Certainly our wackiest draft yet, coming up before too long, with more champions taken off the board.
up. Tell me, why do you act so tough? Cause inside I can see that it eats you up. You get high, wonder why do you cry so much? So tired, you're trying to find it. All these good dreams, when you wake up it brings bad luck. You lose sleep, overthinking will get you stuck. You seem like all the time I get all fixed up. Betray me, we can switch seats. Reach out my hand to you, I'll pull you in closer. Open the windows up, sun on your skin soaked up. All of your gravity goes when the wind picks up. Lift off your free falling until you feel weightless. Oh, you gotta let it go. Higher than a spaceship. Now you really set it off. Now you feel weightless. Now you feel weightless. Till you feel weightless. Oh, you gotta let it go. But psychics tell me, why does it cut so deep? The head speaks for the heart cause it gets too weak. You pull strings but it still doesn't feel so sweet. Let me give your friend. Reach out my hand to you, I'll pull you in closer. Open the windows up, sun on your skin soaked up. All of your gravity goes when the wind picks up. Lift off your free falling until you feel weightless. Oh, you gotta let it go. Higher than a spaceship. Now you really set it off. Now you feel weightless. Now you feel weightless. Till you feel weightless. Oh, you gotta let it go.
Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast to the Path2Pro Combine. We're here in a lobby set number 11, and we have got one final game to go after a dominant performance from Zamudo's Zoomers in game number 2. Now to the blue side for game number 3, and now time to bring back our debate from the previous game, Quacks. Leona Rel. Will we see these champions, and where will they go?
Yep, that is the question. And I certainly think there is a possibility that we see them picked up a lot earlier than to be expected, right? Ordinarily, you'll see the supports, I think, kind of on B4, B5 potentially. But I think this time around, because we have gotten so little AD carry, because we've had so many AD carries in this series, specifically in game number 1, we're just going to see those snatched on up immediately. So yeah, the Corki going to be paired up. This is a champion that has been the big breadwinner of the new patch, very strong in the bot lane. And it's looking like Zamudo Zoomers looking to go tip for tap on that. They are going to lock in their own AD carry. It's going to be the Kog'Maw. Lulu, though, crucially taken off the board. So I actually wonder what enchanter, or if you're even going to draft an enchanter with this. Like you said, the Leona, the Rel, I think you might want the Leona with that. I would certainly prefer that, just being able to lock them in a place for once you get that ult. But it's not going to be the support picked up right away. It's looking like the jungler is going to be locked in, and it's going to be the monkey himself. It's going to be the Wukong.
Yeah, all right. So a little bit of team fight power coming on through for the Zoomers to start things off. That Kog'Maw be so powerful with the on-hit build coming into the later game. The Wukong there to set up for the CC. It's still neither of those two big engage supports. I don't know what's going on in today's draft, but clearly both teams with faith that they can exchange them. I think surely the Goons need to pick one here, or the other will be banned away. And potentially with one of them being snagged by Mixture here. I don't know if that's a position you want to find yourself in, although enchanters have been known to be picked alongside the Kog'Maw, the best of the group taken away. We are told that it is Zach picked here for Kryra.
Zach, let's go!
A shot at his patented Goopy Man coming into the jungle, and now a last pick. Please let it be an engaged support to help out the Zach. Nope.
It's looking like it's going to be a top laner. Yeah, the Gnar instantly picked on up. I really love the confidence from Kryra insta-locking this Zac in, especially against a champion like Wukong, who I actually think is really good into the Zac, right? It can really ruin your engage. It has the ability to shred through your health bar and your armor. It itself also has armor, so it's very difficult to kill. But the big thing for the Wukong that I'm looking at is that backline access, right? Being able to get on top of the Corki and any other backline champions that might be locked in. And speaking of locked in, that is a Tryndamere here, Gordo, for Zamudo. The train of weird and wacky picks in the top lane does not stop at Udyr.
Yeah, absolutely here. Tryndamere going to be locked on in on the side of Zamudo, probably. I mean, it could be Aojun too.
It could be.
Tryndamere has been a pick in the past. That is certainly going to be an interesting one. Braum going to be banned away here. And now, maybe we're just totally off on these supports, Quacks. Maybe nobody cares about
maybe the real
Leona
supports were the friends
anymore.
we made along the way.
We're so out of touch, man. We haven't watched comp on the new patch in, 20 minutes?
There's the
ban. So the Rel's going to be the only one available, which they could snap up here, and of course won't. It's Kog'Maw mid.
What?
It's going to be Draven bot lane.
We saw the Vayne, and then we immediately pivot to the Draven. This is the kind of stuff we love to see from Shogo. These are, I would say, two champions that he is super underrated on. We don't get to see a lot of it, but when they get picked on up, boy, oh boy, is it glorious. And I think that just kind of furthers our belief that this is going to be an engaged support paired on up with it. Because sure, Draven is good with enchanters, but he's really good with the Rel. He's really good with a lot of pick champions. So maybe we see something crazy from Mixture like the Thresh as well. I certainly wouldn't put that out of the realm of possibility, especially with the Zac being locked on in. You deny some of that engage, as the Rel is going to be paired on up with the Jinx. So that's going to be the strong lane for Scary Jerry and Zyko. And they are going to go for disengage. They are going to be drafting for the ability to stop the Gnar, stop the Zac, but it's in the form of a Janna. So a little bit more roam power coming through here by Mixture, especially in a meta where roaming is not as necessarily as highly prioritized. I'm really interested to see how this shakes out with basically all of the lanes being high kill threat.
Absolutely here. So we are going to see the Rel locked on in. Again, a pick we kind of thought would be contested, but clearly we had something out of whack there. But it will be paired up alongside this Jinx, and it will be a good dive buddy alongside the Zac, setting up for some very powerful team fights coming in from the Dragoons Goons side. Meanwhile, we've pivoted entirely away from what looked like it was going to be a team fighting composition for the Zoomers. I mean, this Tryndamere has to mean it's all in on split push. I don't know how else to read this pick coming on through. So it really does leave me with some questions. I mean, they have a strong snowballing bot lane. They have some powerful disengage tools, some great poke with the Kog'Maw, but this comp to me feels like it's all over the place.
And you have to keep in mind, Zamudo also drafted this Tryndamere into the Gnar, meaning that even though I would say this is kind of a more difficult match for Tryndamere because you are a melee top laner against a ranged top laner, Gnar certainly has the ability to just kite you out, especially on your Undying Rage. That can be very, very dangerous if mismanaged. On the Tryndamere side of the matchup, this just shows the confidence in Zamudo being able to lock that one in, saying, I can take the matchup in the early game. I can sustain through the bullying of this Gnar when he's in ranged form, and I will be able to split push my way to a victory while my team hyper scales or snowballs or whatever around the rest of the map.
Yeah, really could be some very strong snowbally matchups here across the board, and we know this is a team that can snowball. I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. We got a first-hand demonstration of that in game number 2, so can definitely respect those capacities and those potentials coming on through from this draft. But yeah, I mean, assuming they come out of lane in an even state, though, I really do favor what the Goons have got going for themselves here. I think their team fighting potential really, really strong. Scary Jerry really well set up to be able to execute on this Jinx pick. I do wonder if we see a lane swap, though, to try to get them away from this Draven Janna lane. It sounds appealing on paper for Scary Jerry and Zyko, and hell, you know what? You might even want to get Dragoon away from this Tryndamere as well. If you get to 2v1 versus the Tryndamere, deny him all that CS, or force him out of lane entirely, you know, that's 2 birds with 1 stone. The only thing about that is in the lane swap in the previous game, I mean, these guys on the Zoomers just ran circles around them. So
For sure.
will it end up being the call here, or are they just going to try to play these lanes out au naturel?
I feel like there are pros and cons to going for the lane swap, but I feel like the biggest con is definitely Gnar, especially when he's out of Mega, is very susceptible to getting dove. And against a champion like a Draven, who literally gets extra gold for getting kills, that is a dangerous game to play. That is essentially saying to Zamudo Zoomers, we are a better dive comp. We have the ability to dive better than you do. We have the ability to get this Jinx more ahead than you can the Draven. That would be a hell of a statement to make, especially after we just saw a game where Dragoons Goons failed not just 1, not just 2, but 3 tower dives on Zamudo, netting them in a hole that they couldn't get out of. So it would certainly be, I would say, a more ballsy play for them to go for. It certainly would, you know, kind of exemplify that this team has got guts and they're willing to try and go for something even after it might have failed horribly the last time. But if I had to stake my life on it, if I had to be a betting man, I would certainly be of the opinion that we're going to see natural lanes here. I think the ability to play around bot lane has to be made clear for both of these junglers, especially a champion like a Zac, who really just wants to be a man on a mission in the early game, wants to make the impact known from minute 1 and stick to it until his laners and his teammates are ahead.
I think that definitely makes a lot of sense here as we are about to get into our spectator delay. Just want to point out we can confirm the position in a lane for all these champions. It is the Tryndamere top, it is the Kog'Maw mid. I wouldn't entirely put it past Zamudo to do some stuff like Kog'Maw top, but that will not be the case this time around. It's the Kog'Maw v Corki matchup, I think, going to be an interesting one. The burst damage potential of that Corki, still something that needs to be respected. Phosphorus Bomb, a super powerful trading tool early on, as is the Gatling gun. the reworked Corki has really upped his ability to go for some of those early trades. So if he can get in out of the Kog'Maw, I think it could be quite dangerous for Aojun. And we've seen some very close one-on-ones in the laning phase between these two mid laners today. This might be another case where we get to see more of those.
And I also think that it is kind of a shift in style from what we've seen, particularly with Phi Mini, right? Phi Mini has been very, very well known for his Hueys, his long-ranged mages like the Hui, the Syndra, the Orianna has also come on through, and this is kind of taking that and throwing it out the window. In game number 3, this is really flexing what Phi Mini's champion pool is going to look like, or what we can expect going forward. Because although Marksman, kind of ruled the mid lane earlier in the year, it's now kind of at this point where Marksman, when they are less favored, it's really going to show if Phi Mini can play the things like the Corki, if he can play things like the Varus that we've seen from Darkwings, if he's going to be able to play things like the Kog'Maw that we're seeing go against him. So I am interested to see how he flexes into a style we haven't really seen from him before, and if he can replicate that into something that could potentially be a game-winning advantage.
Yeah, that's what we're going to be on the lookout for as we get into about 1:45 left on the countdown. And another showdown between these two 80 carries who it feels like we haven't really gotten to see go toe-to-toe too much, right? Scary Jerry totally shut out of the game in the previous game and then actually catapults himself massively ahead in game number 1 to the point that Shogo kind of has to bail out on the play entirely.
Yeah.
And then they do end up coming back later, of course, off stream. Who would have it any other way? It does mean that we haven't really gotten to see these guys fight off against each other on equal footing. I don't know that the Draven lane is going to be the place that we get to see that. Again, I think it's a great lane swap angle for the Goons in game number 3, but still something that I hope for and something we can cross our fingers for based on how these lanes end up shaking out.
And I also think it is kind of a game of chicken with the supports as well, right? I mean, obviously Zamudo was the big carry of game number 2, but Mixture gets the silver medal. Man, he was there for every dive. He was playing it so well. He was constantly shielding up and sticking by the side of the Udyr and just making it so difficult for the Goons to get anything of value on that bot side. And in a game like this, you are essentially relied on to keep your Draven safe from any engages from Zyko and any follow-ups from Scary Jerry. I'm really looking at these tornadoes from Mixture. I'm really looking at these monsoons from Mixture to disengage a lot of these exchanges that we know the side of Dragoons Goons want to go for. And even Kryra is not exempt from this, right? I expect the Zac to be very present in that bot lane. And it's going to be up to the Janna to really pad that aggression and really get this Draven going past that 14-minute mark and into the mid and late game phases.
Definitely. So, spectate timer just about finished off here. And then we've gotten so much to talk about with all these crazy picks. We haven't even gotten to talk about the Kryra Zac finally making its appearance here. I don't think I can do a quick check, actually. I have this in my...
I don't think he's played it in the Combine yet.
He hasn't gotten to play it yet. Yeah, not one game yet. So,
nope.
Will be really cool. I think this is one of his best champions. It's definitely a pocket pick of his that he's gotten to show at the NACL level and at the NACLQ level and been very, very impressive on in those kinds of organized competitive environments. So it will be very cool to see how he's going to be able to perform on it here, especially a matchup like this where there's so many interesting lanes that he could really swing, right? If you get onto the Draven, shut him down, take away those adoration stacks, you get onto the Tryndamere pre-level 6 and can start to set him behind. There's opportunities to have massive influence in the early game here, and I think this is right the kind of pick for Kryra to be able to do so. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on him here.
And it's just the perfect game to go for the Zac as well. I mean, look at the bot side and look at the bot side for the side of Zamudo's Zoomers and tell me where the mobility is, right? If this Zac gets on top of you, you're not escaping. Plain and simple, you'll have to burn the flash or you will be a dead man. So I like that you mentioned this Zac and wanting to get on the map early because it is going to be Kryra's mission early on, which I think further exemplifies why this is going to likely not result in any lane swaps coming out from the game. It just is easier for the Zac to play it out. And on the other side, I'm looking at Ollie to try and, similar to what we said was Mixture's job, do the same thing, try to be there for the counter ganks. We saw the Jarvan was everywhere in game number 2. Ollie had Kryra's number, for lack of a better term, was there for every single scuffle, every single engage. The Jarvan was there. So if he can replicate that success that he found in game 2, that, you know, level of tracking where Kryra is, then I feel like this Zac is going to have a tough time influencing these lanes at the most pivotal time, which is that early game.
Yeah, having some difficulty getting loaded onto the Rift here will hopefully be able to pull on up OPGG or something to be able to get into the game before too long, because this one looking like it is going to be an exciting matchup here. Oh man, I haven't seen Tryndamere. When was the last time you saw Tryndamere?
It's been a while. I mean, I remember I used to play with a player when I played semi-competitively, a guy named Fury and Rage, who we had to ban the Tryndamere from or else he would pick it. He got it once and he went 21-1. So I feel like maybe that's the last time I've seen a Tryndamere in a competitive setting, not in Tier 1, because I remember, I think it was 2021 Worlds, where Tryndamere mid was pick or ban, right? I remember seeing HLE Chovy. That's a bit of a throwback. Just absolutely taking names and crushing people on it. So I really feel like this is a pocket pick coming on through here for the side of Zamudo's Zoomers. And just another thing to add on to Zamudo himself. This guy, you know, he plays the Udyr, he plays the range tops. He's now playing the Tryndamere. This is, you know, the exact amount of weird we expect from a player like him, but he always manages to make it work somehow. This man is a magician with a lot of these pocket picks.
Yeah, always is a strong word, because this is also the guy who played Nico top last week on the split push game plan. Did not work out there. But I agree. I'm excited to see it, and it looks like we're ready to get onto the Rift. We've got the game fixed. Let's kick things off. Game number 3, our final of the night here for the Path2Pro Combine. Let's make it a good one.
I'm already a minute 30 in. The minion waves have crashed. Both junglers starting on opposite sides. So Ollie pathing toward that bot side. Kryra pathing top. So I'm interested to see actually where this Zac ends up at around the 330 mark, because I expect Dragoon to get shove in this lane. Especially when you are playing a ranged top laner like this, you expect that early lane priority. So with the health bars at the current moment, a dive might be not out of the realm of possibility, barring like an early reset from Zamudo, who crucially does not have TP. So it's harder for him to go for these bases cleanly.
Definitely. So starting on off the laning phase, looking like we are going to have pretty standard matchups. No lane swaps coming on through, but the level 2 hit by Scary Jerry and Zyko first. That forces the flash back from Shogo. That's going to be a tool he does not have access to.
Nope. And it's just Zyko and Scary Jerry. It feels like they have been the ones kind of pushed and shoved in under their tower the entire series. So to see them, you know, get down and go for these aggressive trades in the early game and try and get shoved for themselves certainly is a welcome change of pace, because you have to remember, this is the lane, this is the duo that won NACL. This is the duo we expected to be dominant in the bot lane, but it feels like they haven't really had the opportunity to fight fairly with Shogo and a mixture. So now, given that opportunity, I want to see their wings spread.
Absolutely. Here comes Kryra trying out one of those early cheesy ganks you can get off with the elastic slingshot, and it's going to push Aojun back, but otherwise not blow too many resources. Meanwhile, Zamudo and Ollie invading up on the top side, and going to see some vision, see that the blue buff is gone, and return back to their clears.
And you can see Kryra is on the bot side of the map. Good recognition there from Mixture, manages to spot that out. So a dive that could have potentially been possible, going to be a bit harder now. Shogo is going for the engage.
Ooh, Zyko gonna get knocked up, as just Scary Jerry. Great positioning on the tornado from Mixture, and first blood goes to Shogo. Scary Jerry forced to flash over the wall. Shogo cannot follow. Will be the first blood going over to Zamudo's Zoomers.
And that's flashes traded by the AD carry. Sure, it's Shogo winning out on top, but that just means that both Kryra and Ollie are eyeballing that bot lane for the future with blood in their veins. They want to try and influence it as much as possible, as Zamudo gets a bit of a crit off. I mean, he's full on Fury, so this is the prime time to go for the trades.
Zamudo taken very, very low. Dragoon does have that range advantage, but is about to go Mega, giving him the health bar advantage as well. Choosing to focus on the wave here rather than try to pursue Zamudo. Knows that he is so mobile with that spinning slash, the ghost, and the flash. Doesn't even want to waste his boulder by chucking it out there.
And it is Kryra, I mean, pathing toward the top side, so a play up there could be in the cards, but now that a play is being made by Ollie, it's going to have to be the Kryra responding.
Oh, Scary Jerry all alone under the turret at 200 HP. Shogo gets another cash out. Here's Kryra trying to bail out the rest of the team. Ollie going to take an extra turret shot and be at risk of falling down, but the damage just isn't coming through, and that's the passive blown from Kryra. Bloblets come down. They will be able to reform. It won't be another kill to Shogo, but he's up 2-0 already in the Draven lane.
Yeah, this is a rough position to be in for Scary Jerry and Zyko. Shogo getting a lot of gold in his pocket, already has the Dirk completed. So along with that barrier coming off of cooldown, it is going to mean a lot more aggression coming from this combo of the Draven plus the Janna. Zamudo, health bar be damned. He's got level 6. He wants to go aggressive.
Yeah, wants to be able to pick up this kill. Knows that he's got the Undying Rage. Doesn't even really need it. He pops it perhaps for the extra rage stacks, but that's a solo kill to Zamudo. And just like that, the Zoomers, yet again, dominating on both halves of the map.
And I mean, Zamudo, yeah, he pops that ult for good measure. Dragoon, though, does not held that flash in the exchange, was so close to getting Mega as well. So a bit of unfortunate timing coming out from the Gnar. Now the Tryndamere going to get a clean reset off, a huge thing to get when you don't have that teleport summoner spell. And it's just going to mean with the Gnar, you know, catching that wave, those grubs are free. And now Shogo might be looking for a free kill.
Another nice knockup found by Mixture there. Denies the crash down and sets up for Shogo to continue to fire away. And I cannot say enough good things about this bot lane. Again, can't emphasize enough facing off against Scary Jerry and Zyko, the most well-respected bot lane in Tier 2 right now. These guys just won an NACL title together and are just completely getting shut out by Shogo and Mixture in these last 2 games, doing fantastic jobs on especially the Enchanters. The Enchanter play for a Mixture, really impressive to me here on a player that has spent most of the Combine so far really focusing on those core engaged champions. 5 games of Leona, 4 games of Rel, looking just as good here as Zamudo's getting collapsed on.
And Zamudo does not have that R, does not have that flash.
Should be a kill. Dragoon going to be able to pick up the first of the game for the Goons, and they're going to need to find more of those. They're going to need to keep this Tryndamere as much on the back foot as possible, especially after that early solo kill set him ahead.
And now we're seeing movement from Ollie down toward the bot side. He cuts across mid as Aljun manages to rain hellfire on Fire Mini, and he just can't keep up. A solo kill out of nowhere for the Kog'Maw.
Yeah, absolutely here. And welcome to everybody from Risen Esports as the action just keeps on coming. Shogo,
the barrier!
Takes down Scary Jerry, but that's a great barrier, and that's going to enable Kryra to pick up the kill back on the other side. And this could be the angle back into the game that they were waiting for on the Dragoons Goons. Scary Jerry still standing. Kryra, no reason to let up. Going to stay on top of Ollie until he picks up that kill. And Mixture will get the kill back. The Zephyr comes out to execute Scary Jerry.
Good God, man. Dives in this series are just beyond a curse. We saw it in game number 2. Now it's making splashes in game number 3. Finally, the Goons get a punch back in the bot lane. No resources over to Scary Jerry, but a whole of a heck of a lot of resources over to Kryra on this Zac, who we cannot give props enough to. And it is going to mean they find a carry, they find a win con in this game as Zamudo, with some fancy feet, manages to dodge out the combo from Dragoon.
Really nicely done here by Zamudo to be able to get on away. And those couple of kills, they go over to Kryra. You definitely wish Scary Jerry could be rocking some of that gold, but it is a sign of life here from a team that never got to show those signs of life in game number 2. Now let's see what they're going to be able to do here. Great return fire from Scary Jerry. Just throws out the Super Mega Death Rocket to chunk Shogo to half and stop this play in its tracks. Will still be an opportunity to clear out the wave, but might make this Dragon a little bit questionable. They don't seem to know exactly where Kryra is, but they are going to start it off with Ollie anyway.
I mean, Kryra is on the top side of the map, so really a contest is not available. Scary Jerry also doesn't have that Super Mega Death Rocket, so no cheesy plays from the Jinx are on the cards either. This is just going to be a free objective going the way of Zamudo's Zoomers, but it is going to mean that Kryra on this top side can establish control for those second spawn of Grubs coming up soon.
Now, another fight potentially could be had over the Dragon, but instead it's just going to be an invade coming through from Kryra. They will give over Cloud Trade number 1 to the side of Zamudo, and his Zoomers will just be the recall coming on across. So no further action for the time being. Everybody getting back into their laning phase, but the plates are still coming through for Shogo and Mixture. As another fight could be coming through, but no, not actually connecting there. I thought Zyko was for sure going forward, but he's not level 6.
It's so difficult for Zyko to go for any of these engages because the Monsoon is active for a Mixture, the ability to just dispel away the Rel or even the Zac if Kryra chooses to visit on down there, which it's looking like he wants to do. You can see that pick is in the bot lane. He wants to try and get a gank off, but now Shogo and Mixture are rotating and just continuing to play around the fog, completely denying the Zac as Fimini's in trouble.
Good angle found there by Ollie, but Fimini going to be able to flash out to safety. Now we want to check out the bottom lane again soon, but actually Zamudo getting in on top of that Gnar. While he goes mini, he will be able to retreat in time. Nobody will end up falling down, but this could be 5 grubs or more, or well, not more, but 4 or 5 grubs going on over to the side of Zamudo's Zoomers, and it doesn't look like there will be any contest as Kryra still hanging out in this bot lane. So going to give them that extra pushing power for the rest of the game, and going to cement them with the lead while they already have a nearly 2k gold in their favor.
And I mean, they have to go for a dive here. They have to make it work.
All right, coming on through, Shogo trying to fight his way out, gets one of the resets. It does come up as a 2-for-1, but another cash out for Shogo before he falls down. He gets the full value of those adoration stacks, and he's just going to be further ahead than ever, even though Scary Jerry gets one of the kills.
I mean, Scary Jerry finally manages to get some gold for this Jinx on the board. Kryra also manages to put his Zac further and further ahead, but you got to look at what you're trading on the other side of the map. That is now 5 grubs for Zamudo's Zoomers in a game where you're expecting this Tryndamere to be a side lane threat. You're expecting these sides to be a very prevalent win condition for this red side, and you're just giving that up, not for another objective, but for kills just to get this Jinx ahead even a little bit. It is by no measure ahead of this Draven at this point in the game. You are just fighting to get it on the board if you are Dragoon's Goons, and they manage to do just that, but they lose a good chunk of priority and a good chunk of power in the process.
They do indeed. And now, with a 1k gold lead to the Zoomers, we'll have to see how they're going to be able to utilize what they've gotten onto Shogo in particular. He's got a little over a 1k gold lead to himself. He's got the collector already completed. Will he be able to collect some more before this laning phase breaks? Certainly would like to be able to collect a few of those turret plates, but the focus down towards the bot lane, especially from Kryra, has stopped that from being an issue, and has meant that the CS hasn't been an issue either. Scary Jerry kind of going tit for tat with him as far as gold generation goes, the exception being those cash outs. As Aojun's getting ganked by Kryra, going to get pulled back in by the stretching strikes, and this is an easy kill for Fimini. Aojun just can't move.
And there's the power of the Zac. It comes on through yet again in the mid lane as we don't stop. The action doesn't stop. Zyko getting choked down by Shogo. Shogo gonna find his 4th. My God, yeah, the cash out is insane. And man, this Draven, you said the CS was close, but the kills are making the difference. And now the turret plates will fall. And it just means the turret is that much closer, that much easier to be in the pocket of this Draven.
Yeah, and this is Collector as well, already completed, so getting the bonus gold from that too.
Well, Mixture messed up the
try to
NATO.
save that extra turret, and we'll be able to keep it alive for now. Shogo dodging out here, stepping forward, trying to brawl with Mini, but the health is just too much. They will get Cell Division out, but that is all they will be able to find. Mini with his second kill of the game, and he's going to be a major force here for the Goons coming into the later game as Ollie gets found trying to do the Rift Herald. He smites it down, but he can't pick up the eye. He's forced to retreat.
Zamudo being Giga Chad
able to get in here and pick it up, saving Private Zamudo, but no, he spins his way out, and I don't think anybody's getting to this eyeball.
Nope, it's being guarded by the one and only Zyko as Zamudo's gonna get it! Oh my god, he got it! He did it! Goal!
Mission completed. A shutdown to Aojun. AP Clogmaw getting the kill off of the Spittle. And now chasing on forward. Mini still getting chased. The range is just too much. And it's a double kill over to Aojun.
And so many members were committed toward that top side. You can see Zyko and Scary Jerry are in the mid lane. They're going to try and look for a kill onto Shogo.
Shogo getting dove on already throughout the Whirling Death. Not going to be able to find the damage. He's held still for so long, but there's the space created by Mixture's Monsoon. And just like that, Shogo in a perfectly fine position to carry on the fight. Scary Jerry, one spinning axe auto attack away from potentially being taken down by that Collector. But Shogo not going to be able to collapse the gap yet. Zamudo getting wailed away on by Dragoon. Shogo throws out another auto. He finds his way onto Scary Jerry, and I may have caster cursed him there, Quacks. He wasn't ready for one more auto, and that means another cash out for Shogo's Draven, and he's not slowing down yet, looking to brawl with Kryra, maybe ill-advised as Kryra will finish him off.
Kryra manages to get the kill, but they lose so much in return. Scary Jerry and Zyko both go down. The Herald crashes. It doesn't get the tower, but this would be an absolutely insane advantage to go into the pocket of Zamudo's Zoomers. They get the tower in mid lane, and so much more of the map opens up. But the Dragon is open for both teams. You can see Kryra is making his way around the corner, but he does not have Smite.
To try to come and disrupt this. Ollie being pushed back, showing respect here as Mini is arriving as well. And this time by might give them the smite back. Kryra still a little ways away from getting it. Ollie can't get back in time, and they do secure the Dragon as Kryra looking for more. Lands the stretching strikes over the wall, pulls them back together. Mini looking to keep the fight going, but there's still too many members left for the Zoomers. They will push on back the Goons.
They manage to get a heist. They complete their objective. They get themselves the tower. Nobody goes down into the process, but they stop the Dragons from being claimed further by Zamudo's Zoomers. They buy themselves, if nothing else, just a little bit more time to find another avenue to play through, because realistically, the only person ahead of their counterpart on the side of Dragoon's Goons is going to be that Zac. And although he is strong now, has the damage now, eventually it's going to get to the point where the double marksman and the armor pen from the top side of Zamudo's Zoomers is going to be too much.
Definitely. And Zamudo's Zoomers going to have this pressure in the side lane the whole way through. There's a Tryndamere just going to become more and more of a menace. The Hydra, the first item, showing that Zamudo is indexing entirely towards this split push, and with how strong Aojun and Shogo are, they don't even need the rest of the squad. Scary Jerry getting harassed back by the Janna already at half HP. Monsoon going to interrupt a potential engage from Kryra, and this play is already fizzled for the side of the Goons. They have to back away. Ollie may be up a bit too far. Mini trying to focus him down, but the backup will arrive in the form of Shogo and Mixture, and that should put a stop to any further response. Whirling Death even came out. Shogo thought he could execute Scary Jerry, and now here comes Kryra trying to find the punish. Double knock up off of the tornado, but they're able to hold Shogo still for so long. They will be able to get the kill, and they will get Scary Jerry excited. Aojun has to flash back over the wall to avoid falling victim.
Zamudo on the back!
Rockets, but Zamudo on the flank. Maybe ill-advised here. He could have kept split pushing this whole way, trying to kill up kills, but can't get the opportunity to do so. He'll fall back away.
And, Gordo, I'm starting to think there's a reason why Zac is permabanned against Kryra. This man will not let up. Initially, the engage gets thwarted by Mixture, with the Monsoon, but he just goes right back to the same position of engage, makes it work, gets Shogo, they kill off the Draven, they get the resets for Scary Jerry, the rest of Dragoon's goons accelerate, and they win out on the fight, all because the persistence from this guy is insane, and it is unwavering, and it is keeping his squad in this game.
It really is keeping them alive, and it is creating a much closer game than it feels like you should have when Draven has been able to get these kills early on. And when, you know, there was a point in this game where we were saying, oh man, both sides already going down the tubes for the side of the goons. How are they going to be able to try to fight their way back in this and still show something? And they've done just that. A nice fight from Dragoon here up against Zamudo as well, utilizing that Triforce damage, keeping the Tryndamere chunked out, especially while his ultimate is gone. Fight from Ollie here, maybe not going to be what he wants. Is 5 Mini going to join, as does Dragoon. That was a TP from him, and oh no, Quacks. All right.
No, we're back. Okay, thank God.
Oh.
I got scared.
That's all right. We're good. We're all good here. Mixture now getting focused down, though. Kryra coming in for the backup. Whirling Death keeping him low. Mixture will continue to run on out of here, but another Elastic Slingshot, a flash out from Mixture, and he's pretty fast with this Zephyr at his back. Meanwhile, Zamudo still pushing. He's got members being brought right to him by Mixture, but will it be enough to give them the fight out? The inner turret will fall, and now Zamudo has to choose to either fight or run, and he's going to maybe do a little bit of both as he launches himself into two. He's going to go down, doesn't even pop the Undying Rage. I don't think it would have helped him there. But meanwhile, the team is starting up the Baron. There's 3 members on the map, and they think they can do it.
They can't do this. I mean, 5 Mini is in the area. He's going to spot them out. You can see the Zac is just dashing on over. They're going to give it up. And now in a 5v3 position, I have to think this might just be Dragoon's Goons starting it up. This could be the start of the comeback here in game number 3 for them. They're not going to get the neutral. They're going to look to just invade parts of the jungle. Ollie is looking for a flank, but it's spotted out by Kryra.
Yeah, that inner turret gold's still very valuable that Zamudo was able to pick up, but you're right that they're finding good angles to be able to take some of these fights. But Ollie, as you said, still looking for it, going to get that double knockup. He wants Kryra, but the blob...
He doesn't die!
5 Mini gonna be able to take the kill. Scary Jerry gets excited as he takes down Mixture as well. Connects the zap onto Shogo, and the chase will continue. Aojun trying to rain through that damage on the side. 5 Mini taking the one-on-one. 5 Mini takes him out, but there's gonna be the passive from the Cogmaw, able to make the trade back happen. Shogo still standing and fighting. Dodges out on the ultimate, pops the barrier, executes Scary Jerry, but falls down to Dragoon regardless. It's a fight win for the Goons.
And the Goons managed to win on out, but they are going to, you know, so many members of their own team got taken in the process, meaning that a Baron is not on the cards. The Dragon is up, but Kryra, now that the respawns are starting to come through, going to take that reset instead, going to fight with his team. And you've got to answer this, Zac, in some way, shape, or form. If you are Zamudo's Zoomers, the healing, the amount of tankiness that the Zac has had, the difficulty they have had to just take it down, get him into cell division alone needs to be studied. They have got to get some form of armor pen or some form of healing cut, or hell, both would be good, because as it stands, this Zac is completely invincible.
Completely invincible feels like the apt term. Is he's looking for the drive-by steal.
He tried.
I respect that so hard, Kryra. I mean, that would have been quite the highlight reel play.
That would have been going on my Twitter for the day, honestly.
Absolutely.
That would have been the Twitter clip.
For anyone who doesn't know, Elastic Slingshot is long enough that you could just launch yourself across the pit from like one over-the-wall side to the other over-the-wall side without ever actually landing in the pit. And you get a moment of vision where you're actually in range to smite. So you can do drive-by steals that way. That would have been so sick from Kryra. I've never seen it actually done. And I can still say that coming into the rest of the day. Zamudo and Dragoon one-on-one. I don't think Zamudo wins this anymore,
He does no damage to this thing.
Yeah, but I mean, he hasn't had to pop ultimate yet, and he is remaining a menace. All right, the ultimate comes through. And now that he's in mini, I think he's probably doomed. Dodges out on the boomerang. A flash forward Randuin's from Dragoon. And Zamudo's still just literally running circles around him. Oh, no. Oh, Dragoon, you flashed for this, brother. Oh, it's a heartbreaker.
It's a heartbreaker, but it is going to be Zamudo being the playmaker in that exchange. Gets on out, but man, the time of this Tryndamere being the dominant top laner seems like it is completely dried up. It is past at this point. Zamudo, it just does not have the damage to be able to burn through these frontliners, and we've seen it most evidently with Kryra on this Zac. So incredibly difficult to kill on a champion like Tryndamere, who's comfortable building these armor shred items, and they're going to go back for round 2. This time, there is no Undying Rage.
Ding ding, fight. Zyko coming in on the flank, going to make it unfair, and that'll make it an easy kill for Dragoon as he goes on a rampage, but will they try to start off the sneaky 3-man Baron again? Looks like for now the answer is no. They will be spotted by a Scryer's orb, and they will give it up.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no opportunity for them to really look. The mobility of Zac now, he has the max level slingshot. This man can bounce across Summoner's Rift like it's a mini-map at this point, as he's just looking to bounce around the enemy's jungle. He can just walk in the jungle with impunity, Gordo. This guy is completely untouchable, and he cannot be killed.
Nope. Still holding strong the whole time long, and really just exerting his will across this map in a game where his team is still behind. He feels like a champion that can just completely wrest control of a whole quadrant purely from his presence. The engage threat is so significant, and the burst between 5-Mini and Scary Jerry are so dangerous that it feels very tough for the Zoomers to actually come in and contest. They want to be able to use this Tryndamere in the side lane, but shenanigans with Gnar have not been going in their favor.
And now it just kind of leaves them in a pickle, as Shogo might find himself in a pickle, getting aggressed on by all members of Dragoon's Goons. They're going for the chase.
I mean, there's going to be another slingshot here before too long. Shogo tries to juke it out, but he gets smited and slowed. Zyko is in there, and Shogo will fall down. Dragoon is unstoppable. An attempted force play on the other side will be successful. 5-Mini has fallen on down, and Zamudo still standing strong. Here comes the Super Mega Death Rocket. A nice interrupt comes through from Mixture, but Kryra is flashing forward to keep the fight going. It's 2 more kills. Back over to the Goons.
Oh my God.
Not slowing down. Aoshun gonna be the next one to be locked down, and it's a double kill to Scary Jerry.
And it's all orchestrated there by Kryra. He chases down Shogo. 5-Mini goes down, but now all of the members of Zamudo's Zoomers have found themselves on the opposite side of the map. They do not want to be there. They try to run away, but the Zac hops right on over and says, "You're not going anywhere," as now Ollie is looking for the steal, looking for the hero play, but he's not going to be able to find it.
Ooh, Whirling Death across both ways. No kills, no Baron, and that should be Baron going over to Kryra. Ollie going to be marked this whole way, and Dragoon might just be able to finish him off, shuffling him back in with the big Gnar, but now the cavalry's arrived, and Zyko going to get focused down. Shogo should be able to pick this one up. Another collector claimed over to Shogo, and Dragoon going to have to retreat here. It's a 5 versus 4 on the map. Numbers advantage to the Zoomers.
And just in the nick of time, the Dragon going to be spawning on up in about 15 seconds here. Baron-empowered recalls are active for the Dragoon's Goons, but Dragoon himself does not have the teleport, so has to walk to this fight. And it's looking like there is not going to be a fight. You can see Scary Jerry is making his way up toward the top side, just going to start collecting waves for this Jinx, who I might notably add has come back beautifully into this game. For how much pressure was put on Scary Jerry and Zyko, they have made a really brilliant recovery over these last 2 minutes. This Jinx now has 3 items and is matching gold with Shogo on this Draven.
Definitely. A third dragon going over to the Zoomers is something to keep in mind. Would be very powerful for them to be able to secure that Ocean Soul, letting them keep on sustaining up in some of these extended fights up against the Zac, and let Zamudo be even more annoying in the regen department when he's trying to keep the split push going. But it does feel like it might just be all for naught if these team fights continue to favor the Goons and continue to set them up into a position where they're going to be able to take Barons and crack open the base.
And it is big item spikes coming through for Zamudo Zoomers, I might add. In particular, that LDR being completed by Shogo. Zamudo himself has the last whisper, so has some armor pen in inventory. And it's a very close death cap here for Ao Jun. So a big point for them to play on once this Tryndamere and this Kog'Maw get those resets and get those big items. I have to think they are saying, okay, this is our chance to look for a fight. It might be our last. This is going to be, I would have to think this next fight is going to determine who will win the game. Zamudo's Zoomers, they have been losing for the past 10 minutes, but finally have a way, a window to kill the Zac. The question is, can they?
So far, not manifesting. They are going to keep this siege going. Kryra just will not let Zamudo get out of here without a fight. Keeps on channeling elastic slingshots towards him. They take the inner turret, and they're not slowing down unless they're forced to. They're going to continue to try to work on this inhibitor turret, and they should be able to take it without too much trouble. They got the double marksman. The cavalry hasn't arrived to try to force them back away, and they might be able to take it here very soon. Dragoon, meanwhile, dueling with Zamudo, and these duels have been Dragoon favored for a while now. Zamudo going to spin forward, knows that he's got this Gnar into a small mini position. Zamudo will be able to take him down. Spins back over the wall, dodges out of the rocket, but there's a smaller rocket coming from behind you. Phi Mini gonna be able to claim that kill and make it a 1-for-1.
And then Ollie has found himself on the wrong side of Summoner's Rift, but it has left Zyko and Scary Jerry exposed. They're going for the chase, but they can't cover the distance. It's looking like it's just going to be a 1-for-1, but finally, Zamudo manages to punch back when it matters most. Dragoon is down for the time being, but the big raid boss still remains. Kryra is still on the map, Gordo.
And they've lost so many structures from this Baron push. It's still a big win for Dragoon's Goons, even though Dragoon ends up falling down. They've got the gold lead for the first time all game now. It took them 31 minutes, but they do secure it. And they are in such a good position to be able to keep on team fighting, to be able to close things out. The Draven's advantage has largely fallen by the wayside, right? He's on 4 items, just picked up the rapid fire cannon. Scary Jerry very close to having a 4th one down. So I'm gonna take back what I said a little bit. Shogo still ahead in gold, still ahead in itemization, but it's not as significantly as it was earlier.
True, he is still ahead in gold, but you also have to keep in mind, Scary Jerry is so much more of a threat in a lot of these fights with those resets. They're so easy to come by with how effective this Zac lockdown has been. Getting picks has never been easier, and Scary Jerry getting resets comes with that. So you have more items if you are Shogo, but getting kills, getting picks, being effective in a lot of these team fights we're seeing, that is a completely different story.
Indeed it is. Being forced back here. It looks like the Zoomers want to potentially try to start a fight here, but remaining members going to be able to back away in time. Dragoon still spotted on the top side. Meanwhile, Zamudo is here with the team for the fight. Won't be able to take down that inner turret just yet, but the next wave will give them a chance to be able to do so. And the remaining members of the Goons are backing away. Dragoon still trying to keep his split push going up on the top side. They want this inner turret. He's going to continue to fight it out for it. Good damage on Kryra. He's kind of forced back and out of the play, and this is the best opportunity to actually try to make something happen they've had in a while on the Zoomers. They're going to take it. Scary Jerry takes a big chunk, forcing forward. Whirling Death gets the kill. Ao Jun stays alive.
Oh my God!
Going to save his life, and it's a numbers advantage for the Zoomers. Scary Jerry is off the map, and a shot at the Dragon Soul coming up in 15.
And I mean, Kryra is looking to regen in his own jungle, but he's on the other side of the map. This side is completely claimed by the side of Zamudo's Zoomers. They've got 5. Scary Jerry's going to be down for another 25, so they've got to try and force this Baron, but it's being read. You can see the rotation is coming instantly. They're leaving Shogo behind, but the rest of the members of the Zoomers, they want to go for the fight.
They want to challenge on this Baron. Meanwhile, Shogo is soloing the Dragon over on the other side. He's going to secure them that Dragon Soul. They get it. Now they have the regen, and they have a better fighting chance than they've had in a while, thanks to those extra stats.
And it's really starting to come in, Gordo. The armor pen from all of these members. Aojun with that blighting jewel, we could see just how effective he was at chunking down Kryra. And finally, for the first time this game, it feels like that pick is mortal. And if something is mortal, it can be killed, and that's what Zamudo Zoomers are looking to do. They're looking to kill this series, kill this game, go for the 3-0 on the day, and one more team fight could do it for either of these squads.
Such a close game now on a knife's edge. The addition of that Dragon Soul throwing another factor into the mix. The Baron will be started up. It's Kryra tanking it up, but the poke damage from Aojun needs to be respected. Living artillery making a big difference on this AP Kog'Maw build and can really start to hurt if he lands multiple of them onto you.
And you've got to be careful. You've got to be mindful of the engage. I like what Aojun is doing here. Scouting out with his ult. They see where Kryra is.
Beautiful knockups, though, come on through from Zyko. They know where the enemy is, but knowledge is only half the battle, and they don't have the stats to win the second half. Kills on both carries coming through for Dragoon's Goons. A double kill to Dragoon himself. Ollie caught in the mid lane, trying to cut the wave. 4 members fall for the Zoomers, and Dragoon's Goons will not end the day without a win. They're marching into the base.
And it's Kryra, the hero on this, Zach. From start to finish, we're starting to see why this champion is perma-banned from him. He has been making waves in the Tier 3 and Tier 2 scene, Gordo. And this game, we're seeing exactly why he's leading the charge. He's leading them to their win here in game number 3. And he is going to lead them to a Baron. They don't look for the end just yet. But this might just be the final nail in the coffin, barring any crazy picks by Aojun, Shogo, or Ollie. That might just be it and how it ends, Gordo.
Am I nuts? How is this game not over? We're too intimidated by the Janna? Now it's going to be Aojun TPing back into the fight. He's got Mixture in his back. He's going to end up
Whirling Death.
The Baron is still there. Whirling Death went in the wrong direction. Did end up picking up Zyko. Did not get a chance to steal the Baron, though. Shogo
3v3.
one out.
3v3.
Going to be the next member. Here comes Ollie looking for a potential flank angle. Doesn't have the flash, but does have the ability to jump walls with the decoy. It's 2 members down. Dragoon and Zyko off the board, as are Aojun and Mixture. A 3 versus 3 on the map, and it's only 1 inhib down. I mean, Baron's been given over, but this game is not done yet.
No, it's not. Zamudo is saying, I'm done when we're done when I say we are done. And he is continuing to fight, continuing to put pressure. And despite having no vision, despite having no teammates around, this man is still looking to be a thorn in the sides of the Goons, even going so far as to take camps away. And there's so many members looking to maybe go for him. The zap lands, but it's not going to be enough to stick the engage, stick the landing. It's looking like the Tryndamere will get out. And man, this game, as soon as you think it's over, Gordo, it feels like it could go on for another 5, maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah, it does look that way, and we're not showing any signs of slowing down. If a good flank angle is found by either side, it could really still make a difference. It feels like the front to backs have favored the Goons for a long time, but Aojun's poke is a big threat, and being able to just find your way to get Ollie in onto somebody like Scary Jerry or 5-Mini can really turn these tables. Zamudo on a deep flank here. If he can find his way onto these carries, he can be an absolute menace. Ollie looking for the same nearby. Kryra will spot out Zamudo, so Zamudo going to have to spin his way out of there in very quick time. Dragoon coming in on the flank. Zamudo being focused, gets his autos across, spins on away, already in the Undying Rage. That's Tryndamere ultimate down.
I mean, they don't manage to get the kill onto the Tryndamere, but they burn the ultimate. A huge, huge cooldown for Zamudo not to have, as now he wishes he did. He gets taken down. Scary Jerry gets the resets.
Very instantaneous Monsoon there from Mixture, going to be able to push Zyko away and stop himself from being the next target engaged onto. It's still 5 versus 4 though. TP coming back in. Scary Jerry is so low. Aojun taking pot shots. Living artillery flashed away from Scary Jerry. 5-Mini has been able to take down Mixture. It's a flash in from Ollie to get the fight started, knocking up as many members as he can, but Aojun is locked down for so long. It's Shogo not able to find his way in. One more auto onto Scary Jerry will make it an even trade. 2 members left alive for Dragoon's Goons is all it takes to close the game out. Dragoon and Kryra will finish what they started and will claim themselves their win for the night.
And it's going to be 2-1 on the day. But boy, that one for the side of Dragoon's Goons was well earned, well fought, and well deserved. What a way to end the broadcast tonight. And there's only really one big lesson that I learned from all of this, Gordo. And it's to ban Zach, especially from Kryra. This man, there's a reason this was the first time he got it in the Combine. It's because he is an absolute menace on it. This man has a lock-on ability, which is the slingshot. He does not miss, and he did not miss in game number 3. He was right on target, and the target was Zamudo's Zoomers, and they got tapped down in game number 3.
I think my big lesson for the night was that Zamudo, or maybe more generally Ujir, with the Lulu in these kind of top support lane swaps, that's a menace. That duo is a problem. If Riot doesn't totally kill lane swaps coming into the next year, I want to see a little bit more of that. But
yeah,
that's going to do it for tonight's stream, Quacks. We had a 3 block, and that is all. Huge showing from both of these teams, though. I think pretty much all these players got to show a little bit of their stuff. Really impressive stuff out of Mixture and Shogo in particular on the night, as well as Kryra. I think those are my big 3 highlights, but we will certainly learn more in the coming days over what the coaches and the staff have thought of what all these players have shown us for this offseason Combine, as we're just a couple days away from the first round of cuts.
Yup, it's gonna start thinning on down there, so it is time to put your game face on, show what you're made of. And even despite the result, I feel like everyone showed what they were made of here in this game. Especially, you were saying gold medals to Shogo, Mixture, and Kryra, but I would give a silver medal, honestly, to Ollie. Going in this Combine against with and against a ton of players that are super duper well known, had a breakout year that was 2024, if not, 2023, with some of the older players like Scary Jerry, Zyko, Dragoon, etc. And being able to match with it, even in game number 3, that Kryra was sort of running over with the Zac, he still had really bright moments with the Wukong. In game number 2, he was really good on the Jarvan. So big shout out to him, going into a very, I would say, terror-inducing series with a lot of very big names, and coming out a very, very prominent carry and a very prominent name amongst all of them.
Completely agree with you there, Quacks, but that will do it for our featured matchups tonight. Thank you, everybody, for tuning on in to support these players and to support the North American Tier 3/Tier 2 ecosystem. There will be more games broadcasted tomorrow, so stay tuned to the Blue Otter Twitter and stay tuned to this Twitch channel to see more of the best up-and-coming talent North America has to offer. That will do it for tonight's stream, so we will see you guys next time. Thank you for myself, from Quacks, and from Pop-Tart on Prod.
Losing track under the water, searching for something that I've been missing.